Now broadcasting from the Next Gen Conservative Studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you the latest in politics, current events, and pop culture. This is the Whitfield Report with Sam Whitfield.
Hey there, folks. Welcome to the Whitfield Report. I am your host, Sam Whitfield, broadcasting here live from NGC Studios in South Florida. And apologies for the late start time. My computer was doing some updates, and I tried to push them, towards later tonight, but it insisted on updating right before the show. But anyway, we are here live, and we are live with friend of the show and first-time guest, Mr. Akiba, Insomnia. So, Akiba, first off, thanks for joining the show. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing pretty good. Not too bad of a Saturday for me.
So, I didn't ask you this question before we, in kind of the pre-show, but I have to ask because the internet seems entirely convinced. Are you Faith Vickers' boyfriend?
Oh, good God,
Because
no. Good. Me living in California? Oh, fuck no. I love my guns too much.
That's kind of what I figured, but that's the latest scuttlebutt that's out there.
I have not heard that schizo theory. That's impressive.
I guess. Well, I should explain for the folks who don't know. Akiba is the co-host of The Good, the Bad, and the Vicious, which our friend Mr. Vicious Vickers is the host of. And Akiba is basically Mr. Vickers' Apex Gamma. He is akin to Apex's equivalent on this show, which, speaking of, Apex is a bit late, but he'll be joining us. So let me send the invite via Discord to Apex so he can jump in here. So he's not yelling at me on Twitter to let him in like he did last week. So you're not Faith Vickers' boyfriend.
Correct.
So we have that rumor out of the way. With that in mind, though, who are you? Your Twitter bio says that you're the love child of Pipka or something. I don't even know who half these characters are, but so
all right, so I can explain that. As officially lore created in a Twitter comment thread, I am the unofficial child of one Pipkin Pippa and Tenma Miami of the VTuber company Phase Connect, in which their conversations with me just automatically confirmed that I was indeed their child when they were having a domestic dispute. So I'm going to wear that one with a badge of honor. Why those two? Well, Pipkin Pippa, if people do not know, is the cute VTuber anime rabbit who completely just dunked on Ethan Ralph during Portugal 1 when he got beat up and his purse got stolen, in which within 5 minutes of her talking about Ralph, or 5-10 minutes, he completely blocked her, even though he did not have, quote, the time to know such going-ons with anime rabbits, unlike you, sir, end quote. That might also be a misquote. I'm not always great with that. But basically, he was scared by a pink anime rabbit. That rabbit I found to be pretty hilarious with her Alex Jones-styled schizophrenic rants from time to time and her conspiracy theories. So I, like many after the Portugal 1 coverage, started covering her, especially as Medicare had mentioned her here and there throughout several of the last streams ever since it all popped off. Besides that, I am the co-host on The Good, the Bad, and the Vicious, and pretty much even on that show, the show of which I co-host, I am a literal who, as most know me, or rather, do not know me.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the harshest insults I've heard is, towards you is that you're a nobody, which, I mean, that, come on, man, that, in the words of Joe Biden, come on, man, that's hurtful. You know, you're 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 somebody to someone or something like that. But that's
True.
why I wanted to have you on, is because I like promoting kind of the under you know the up and coming YouTubers, or I guess the co-hosts in this case.
For now, yes, until maybe things maybe get moving in the future, but we'll see with that.
So another question I have to ask you is, how'd you link up with Mr. Vickers? That's what I want. That's what I want to know.
I'm not currently under contract. I'm currently under contract to not discuss my original meeting with the California coin merchant, transactions that may have perspired, hirings, contracts, or anything of the sort filled out with him. I have known
I mean,
Mr. Vickers for a while now, and we are very good friends. I like to think internet friends at the very least.
dude, it's cool. I mean, don't you know? I mean, I work for him too.
And you should have
Uh,
read your fine print.
we're apparently the latest lore with me is that, like, Vickers was so desperate that he secretly asked, he sought me out, and to come on
Yeah,
the
everybody's on the
report.
payroll.
Yeah, even though I have said multiple times that that I was the one who invited him on to the program, because I find him interesting beyond the whole e-drama thing,
Oh yeah,
because
no,
e-drama is temporary, but
always.
entrepreneurism and building a business, that's forever.
Oh
um
yeah.
so um I just find this whole e-drama thing hilarious, and right
I think
before
most do.
we we went on, like, the thing that really kind of it's hilarious to me is, the biggest criticism of me is that, like, oh, well, Sam Whitfield, he's just a boring political guy. All he talks about is politics. Well, motherfuckers, this whole thing, like blood sports and Gamergate and whatnot, basically stemmed from politics and whatnot, from at least my understanding of things. I mean, Gamergate was not entirely political, but I mean, SJWs and whatnot, and that whole thing.
I would say a
So,
big draw of blood sports kind of was a lot of opposing political ideologies, or just opposing ideologies, but a lot of them were, especially at that time, based in politics. Although some would say that the most fun ones were usually between the internet people sorts of folks. But no, Bloodsports absolutely has big, like, owes a lot of its um, exposure to politics and having political figures on debating each other, white nationalists versus black nationalists, sort of a thing.
yeah, which it's funny because Genius Anus and I discussed that last week, about how all these, like, white supremacists that the mainstream media keeps going on and on, how awful they are. They're all retards, basically. Um, which I find that funny, how, like, the biggest threat, are, like, a whole bunch of the biggest threat to our country according to the media are people like Ethan Ralph, who
Yeah, it's
they they fall asleep on stream and shit themselves. If that's the if that's the biggest threat to America, I think we might be safe. So
I would think so too.
but
Although I like to stand by the thought that enemies change with the times, and sometimes you just need a little bit of an easy enemy that you can feel a little bit better about, knowing it's not that bad of a threat. So I think that's kind of where that comes from.
well, I mean, yeah, well, I mean, we're at the point in America, and I mean, I think maybe this says more us, but we're at the point where like things have gotten so good that we've kind of had to make our own enemies, more or less. It seems like.
Oh yes, I
So
think there are multiple reasons why I think slacktivism has taken off within the last decade, but I think a lot of it is that while there are still problems that we do face as a country, it's nowhere near as insane as, say, handling desegregation and everything like that, the rights issues
right.
of voting issues and things like that. There are less people in the streets fighting for these super big things. There aren't MLK speeches and marches and all that sort of thing happening. Now it's more towards a lot more smaller than in that case as a nation problems. Police brutality does happen, but it is kind of centralized more towards cities and things like that. But in some cases, it's making mountains out of molehills because we don't have, these massive atrocities going on with fire hydrants and attack dogs on citizens and things like that, or concentration camps. I think a lot of it comes from people, wanting to have something to rally against. And in some cases, it turns into worrying about a group of individuals who might seem very right-leaning and very racy in their opinions, and then it just turns out to be that they're a bunch of degenerate coomers who are cat boys and think that kissing women is
Right.
gay.
Right, which the gay the gay catboy Fuhrer. I mean, look,
2, 3, and 4 Führer.
Yeah, Hitler. I mean, like I was saying, I was talking to a friend of mine who works in Congress, and he's just kind of like a lackey, but he works for people who I guess have kind of like tangentially looked at like Ethan Ralph and Baked Alaska and all these people, and like trying to explain Ethan Ralph to someone who's like a normie is
it's damn near impossible. And then it comes into, why is this person famous at all? So it's even harder to explain, like, well, I mean,
well, and
10,000, like 20,000 people who knows who he is, that's a lot, but in relative terms, not really.
Yeah, well, and it's also like if it's like, listen, if your bosses are interested in like having like the FBI surveil Ralph, well, I think that would be whole from like a shitposter's perspective and whatnot. I think having the feds watch Ralph, I mean, part of me thinks that maybe they already have. I mean, let's face it, we're all under federal surveillance.
Oh yeah, no, we're all under a form of surveillance for sure.
Yeah, so but I just imagine like if I actually feel sorry for the feds who are like surveilling Ethan Ralph, because like I can just imagine like some poor like fed just being like just being like, God damn it, this idiot went to Portugal
again and got beat up again. Wait, what do you mean he went to Spain? What the fuck?
We're not being paid enough to surveil this guy.
Right? Like I can imagine the guy who's like tasked with following his Twitter and has alerts set up. He's fucking maybe taking a nap or something today, like he's off shift, and he just sees fucking Ralph talking about fucking child penises and circumcision, and it's like, fuck, again. That's the thing. I don't know. I think if he is, I do hope to God that federal agent is at least can enjoy it like the rest of the A-logs.
Yeah.
At least get some entertainment out of it.
but like I can also picture one guy being like, fuck, like I wanted to join the DEA and go hunt down drug dealers or do something exciting. But I have to surveil these wacky people like Ethan Ralph and Baked Alaska.
Well, I do think in that case, at least they'd have a better chance of having fun because there are assets who, you know, there is a confirmed CIA meme division. There were guys who were on 8chan, literal Fed posting with, you know, whoever saying this crazy shit. There are people who see like the really unhinged types of people who talk about it. I think that the handlers for, you know, the streamers and things like that, the grifter sector side of it, I like to think that they have at least a couple chuckles, or at the end of the day they go home to their wife or whatever and say, hey honey, guess what this fat fuck did today? And they can both look at it, go to the farms on their personal phone and laugh at a fat man getting beat up in Portugal for a second time.
Yeah, I just watched that like yesterday because I did not see it when it actually happened, and I was just like, I mean, I'm not a person that like laughs at fat people inherently, but
right,
there's something there's something hilarious like about watching him get beat up and then just seeing the, you know, rows of fat just like, you know, just like
out and plopped while he's trying to look cool holding up middle fingers. No, I completely get it.
I mean he honestly looks like a cartoon character. And it's and I mean he acts like someone, and that's what I don't get is like,
well, he acts like a terrible heel wrestler is what he acts like.
Anyone who although like one of my friends who is actually into wrestling actually made this valid point to me today on Twitter. He's like, you know, it's actually insulting to call Ethan Ralph like a heel in pro wrestling because like wrestlers, yeah, it's fake, but like wrestlers actually have to like work out and shit and like stay in shape and like, you know, and like actually rehearse for their acts and whatnot. Whereas like, you know, Ralph just screams his head off and is like perpetually fat. So
well,
I'm like,
I would say, you know, a wrestling fan myself, there is some validity to that. Like people who actually are heels, who actually are wrestlers. He is, however, I think he would be slated as a manager type of performer where he's on the sidelines, he's not in the ring, but he's saying all of this terrible stuff to be the mouthpiece for the guy that can do the athletic stuff. And will just say stuff for cheap pops, cheap heat, you know, just to get people to hate him and his guy or whoever. See, that's the thing. If you think of maybe someone more leaner, maybe a little bit more in shape than he is, perhaps some sort of Hispanic catboy leader of the white race, you know, in his leopard stripe, you know, Speedos doing the wrestling, and him on the sidelines yelling, getting sweaty and hot in an ill-fitting suit and a cowboy hat, then you see what kind of heel wrestler Ethan Ralph is.
So So he is more like Vince McMahon, except Vince McMahon is actually more likable than Ralph is.
He's a cross between Vince McMahon, Paul Bearer, and Jim Cornette, except he has no talent. He doesn't live any of his gimmick as he should. And all three of the ones I named are actually entertaining to watch and
Yeah.
Mostly okay, nice people. At least in comparison.
Well.
Okay, Vince has done some shit, but he can take care of people better than Ralph can, I guess. Oh, you there?
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. Oh boy.
Well, I don't know. I think the stream might have died on YouTube, maybe.
Let us see. I think we're good. No, we're still live for me as far as I can see.
Okay, good. Because yeah, YouTube was just doing the like freeze frame thing. It says we have excellent condition, but yep. Okay, that's good. We're still rolling. Okay,
Beautiful.
But
we're still good.
Yeah. Well, other than being like allegedly mobbed up, Vince McMahon actually, is entertaining and
yeah. I mean, he has done some scummy stuff, but he does have a particular sort of charm, and even in real life, despite all of his various oddities, he's not. He believes in business. He believes in good relationships with people. He believes in for the most part within his reason doing things best he can, or at least the McMahon that was in the ring during the Attitude Era was like that. Ralph kind of tends to take all of the worst qualities from anyone that he tries to emulate.
Yeah. Yeah, entirely. Someone actually tried to compare Ralph to Rush Limbaugh too, which as a ditto, as someone who grew up listening to Rush, and as someone who basically based a lot of this show on Rush. I mean, I swear that whoever made that comment was just purposely trying to piss me off. It didn't succeed in pissing me off, but it did succeed me in making me laugh because Rush was actually he was actually in the business for close to 40 years. The only reason he quit was literally because he got carted out once he died. But he's actually smart, unlike Ralph, and
well articulated.
Yeah, he's real articulate. He other than when callers provoke him, he never really went off on anyone. Yeah,
he certainly wasn't a self-destructive.
No, I mean, you can argue that once he, that he did have, a painkiller problem, that was it. But unlike Ralph, he actually got himself into rehab and actually, like lost weight and actually improved himself and oh yeah, and he never he never had kids, but he never abandoned any kids either,
especially for a European trip. And you're gonna say that he built bridges rather than burned them, which is absolutely true. I think the only comparison you can probably make is perhaps overweight and maybe gray-haired up to, and of course it's only after a certain point, but yeah.
Well, to be fair, Rush didn't start going gray until he was like in his 60s when you're supposed to.
Right.
Oh yeah. And as someone points out in the chat, they smoke cigars, but that is actually a critique I have of Ralph, because like as someone who smokes cigars themselves, like, Ralph, your technique is like,
Oh,
it I mean
it's completely amateur.
it makes the cigar aficionado in me cry, honestly. First off, I don't think he even uses like a proper lighter.
Oh no,
You
of course
know,
not.
but yeah, he just you know, Ralph, you can't even smoke properly without bitching it. Hey, mint condition chicken, I sent you the link via via Discord. So if you want to hop on here, mint condition is actually Apex,
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Mister.
I can tell by the
So
profile picture. And that's the thing too also
um
about him and the cigars is that you can tell is just it's so much showboatiness. It's for a look rather than for uh
yeah,
the cigar itself, which I think is just tacky.
yeah. Let's see. I'm still driving home. We'll be there shortly. Okay. Good then. Gamma. So,
Drive safe.
let's see. I do. There is one question from Fell in a Meadow. She
Mhm.
wants to know what your views on cannibalism are. Um.
Well, I think it's fairly safe to say probably not a good idea to do. Um, maybe even if the person wants it, probably should try to get them some help first. And if you absolutely have to, or you think you might have to in a possible nuclear post-apocalyptic future, do your reading. Read up on what works, what can be eaten, what can't be eaten, and try not to indulge into it too much, because that's how you get the handshakes.
Well, she says, "Boo, this guy sucks." But listen, fellow fellow in the meadow, aka what sandwich? I mean, listen, I love you, sandwich, but you listen. You cannot go out eating. You cannot go out eating people, sandwich. We've talked about this.
There are better
You know,
things to eat.
you you can't you can't eat your fiance either. I know that Mr. Whiskey might taste good, but I mean I like him too, and you know you ate him, and I didn't even have a chance to say goodbye. You know, so now who's gonna yell? Now who's gonna come into my chat and pester Apex. So,
I will say I do remember
but
that one story of a guy who had to have I think it was his foot or something lopped off for a medical procedure for some reason, and he somehow got a hold of it, and him and his buddies like barbecued it and ate it. I suppose that's okay, if it's something that's already got to go off, but it's still safe to consume. Sure, you know what, you only live once. If it's on the bucket list, it sounds fun. Go ahead, just make sure you know how to prepare it. Make sure that you don't waste it if you're gonna do it.
mm-hmm.
That
Well,
is, that's my hot take.
yeah. So, now that we got that segment on cannibalism out of the way, you know, I we're going all over the place, but
Just like
so
good,
the
bad, and vicious.
one of the things I yeah, and yeah, I mean we only have we only have a few more viewers than the good, the bad, and the vicious. Which, by the way, speaking of, we now have a new donation goal, $25 of which has already been fulfilled by Mr. Vickers from last week. So if any of you guys would like to donate to the stream, streamlabs.com/report. Caution that if you donate to my stream, Merch will become furious and, and call you a retard and start making really bad Breaking Bad references.
Listen here, buddy. You're done.
Did you ever see the clip of Mersh screaming at me that he was nice to me?
No, but I can imagine it.
Okay. Okay, so so I don't know how familiar you are with my lore, but basically, oh shit, Milger Nation is in the house too, so perfect timing. So basically, a long ass time ago, so I basically got involved in this whole weird ass corner of the internet because of a weirdo named Owen Benjamin, who isn't really relevant anymore, but there's like a whole documentary on him, and there was like a whole arc. But long story short, he went after like a few friends of mine, and so I became one of his A-logs for a few years. And during that time, I kind of became familiar with Revenge of the Sith. Well, then Mersh basically came on to my show one time, and it was like 5 years ago, or it was a long time ago, and this was kind of before I became a locale. But then somewhere along the line, Mersh decided to kind of befriend Owen Benjamin, and even though he was an A-log originally, and kind of turn heel on a lot of people. And he threw one of my buddies, Alan Powell, under the bus, and actually named Alan in that police report. So long story short, when that happened, I invited Alan onto the show, and Apex and I and Alan talked about how ridiculous that whole thing was.
Right.
Well, one of Mersh's fans, I guess, watched that stream and clipped it and sent it to Mersh, and he went on like this whole 2-hour tirade against me about how he was nice to me, and I mean, we're not talking.
We were being so nice to him, chat. We were being so nice. Oh my god, yeah, I can hear his fucking voice saying it and bitching.
I came on your stupid show, well, you were just crippled and whatnot, and
oh my god, of course.
And I was nice to you. I mean, even like meta. I mean, it spawned like whole meme, and it was just because Apex and I just like had a guest on that he didn't like. So anyway, and then Mersh quickly became a Gunt Guard, and now he's like, I honestly call Mersh Gunton Jr. just because.
I mean, he's almost at that point.
But yeah, so so that's kind of what happened. But yeah, let's anyway, I know I have no idea why I brought up Mersh, other than he was
how you got into this sector. What kind of pulled you in?
Yeah. So so other than that, I do have a question I want to ask Apex once it gets here. But in the meantime, it's a question for both of you actually. But in the meantime, so the other thing is you're a gamer, which is weird because a lot of people,
Without the particular key phrase, yes, I enjoy video games.
well, which is weird because like a lot of these people in this circle like are part of, they were ever part of Gamergate, but you're the only person I know who actually like plays video games or like actually enjoys talking about gaming or something. So like I guess what are your favorite games in terms of or genres, I guess?
Well, I mean, I'll give a little backstory on me and kind of how I came into games and it being the hobby that has ruled my life since the mid 90s. I grew up in on military bases in Japan for most of my early life. So despite like of course having, access to on base, shops where you can just buy games that came out, we had American based consoles and things like that. You, games even in the 90s were a big part of the culture there.
Sure.
Advertisements and things like that were still very big, and not just in certain areas, like just all over. So on top of it being kind of that big transitional period where it was the transition to 3D gaming and that first real jump in technology, even though I started on the lower side of the consoles as a small child. So I have been all over the spectrum in terms of like playing Nintendo and Sony and Xbox and all the different teams and things like that. So in terms of like favorites, it really does kind of fall into games that particularly have a lot of strike with me, like hit me hard as an individual and make me think about things.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it can be super simple. I like games of all genres. I think all genres have something to offer and have fun to be had. And I've had fun with all sorts, from sports games to rhythm games to immersive sims to first person shooters, RPGs, both Western and Japanese. There's all even things like dating sims or visual novels or just sort of click your own adventures. There are gems everywhere in every single genre.
Oh yeah.
So for me, it really kind of spans the whole gamut of games where I do love the Hideo Kojima big think games that make you think about, the future and where things are going. Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, Death Stranding. But in the same vein, I also enjoy super, super, super simple games like Soul Blade, aka Soul Edge on the PlayStation 1, or Dance Summit Nisa Nichio on the PlayStation 2, which is a rhythm game. They don't necessarily have to be deep. They can also just be fun and like super stylish. As for favorites, there are just so fucking many.
Oh yeah.
But I do
Well,
I do love games for games, and I always have, just because it was, when you move a lot as a kid, constants are nice, and video games,
sure.
along with like cartoons, are always a great constant.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so for me, like I've always enjoyed games that like have like a really good story, or have like a really good story arc to them. Not
Mhm.
saying I don't enjoy Call of Duty multiplayer. I mean, I think I like that as much as the next guy, but I really like games that have like really, I don't want to say deep stories, but like can really tell a good story. I think one of the best games, and I mean I'm 27, so I'm not old, but I'm old enough to where there's like a whole new generation that doesn't even know about like Max Payne, and that really kind of
Yeah.
breaks my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Because
it makes me feel fucking great every single day.
because like I think Max Payne, like Mac, especially like Max Payne 1 and 2, like those are. I mean, I know people shit on Max Payne 3, but I still enjoy it. But 1 and 2, I think, are absolute masterpieces.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
hoping, and since you're kind of you're the game news guy, I know. So one of the rumors I keep hearing about is that they're going to do a remaster of the Max Payne series, and I'm hoping that we get that because, man,
Wasn't
you know,
it
my
wasn't it hinted at the Game Awards after kind of the plans after the Alan Wake remaster? Wait, no, because Max
that's
Payne
what.
wasn't done by Rockstar, but Max Payne 3 was, right? Or
Well,
wait, no, I'm thinking something else.
Well, Max Payne the series was done by Max Payne 3 was done by Rockstar exclusively.
Okay,
1 and
that's
2
where I'm
1
confused.
1 and 2 were done by Remedy, which
Right.
is Sam Lake's company. But, I guess like the thing with, Max Payne is that it's like if you roll a good plot-driven game, that's a good one to to have. A game I'm working through right now is Red Dead Redemption 2, because I actually skipped consoles, so I have it. So the very first one I had was a PlayStation 1, and then I had the PS2 when it came out. Had the PS3 when it came out. I skipped the PS4. Basically, I just never got around to it, and then I just got a PS5.
Okay.
So, which is kind of funny because right now the vast majority of games that you can play on PS5 are actually old PS4 games, which is funny. But in regards to consoles, do you have any preference, or are you one of those PC master race people?
Well, just before we get off of Max Payne real quick, I do agree 100%. I have a copy for the Xbox for Max Payne 1 in my collection right now. That is a fucking masterpiece. They do need to remake it. I think they will. I think the Alan Wake remake is completely indicative of them wanting to bring that stuff forward, especially for those that can't play it or don't want to. Moving forward onto your question, I do love the PC for the limitless potential it can offer developers of video games, and even the basement programmers, the basement hobbyists who all got their starts in the game industry doing bedroom computing. But I absolutely love consoles. I think that like console exclusives are the big thing that sell consoles, and sometimes they're just absolutely fantastic games, which make it a pain when the only way to play them sometimes is emulation. It's definitely not a both ways. Do I have a PC that can masterfully emulate as best we can PlayStation 2? 100%. But is that emulation going to be the exact replication of reflective surfaces in a particular game that the PS2 can handle? No, it can't do that. And I get the people who like, oh, I want to run it at 1080p, high resolution, upscaled textures, and have it look better than ever. And meanwhile, I'm like, nah, I'm plugging this bitch into a CRT, running it at 240 hertz, and I'm enjoying the scan lines. So for my favorite console, oh man, I'd probably it'd be a tie between the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox original.
Good answer.
Interesting. Very, very good answer. Hello, Apex, and
Hello.
with that, happy Pride Month, happy Pride Month, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, happy Pride Month, you fucking homos.
Well, you're one to talk.
Exactly. That's why I can say it.
Mr. Now I want to clarify something, folks. I will not disavow Apex because he has come out. Listen, shit poster is his sexuality.
Yeah.
So
Listen, I'm being fucking brave here, and you bastards can just get over it.
Stunning and brave.
Z snap on your asses.
Stunning and brave. Stunning and brave.
Let's listen. We're we support Pride Month here at the Whitfield report. We're very inclusive of of everyone's sexuality, including shit posters that have the the rainbow cross,
Rainbow Swazi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I especially support Pride Month because I'm a bit of an accelerationist. And if you guys know your Bible, pride is what turned all the angels into, the first demons or whatever, something like that. So pride is not a virtue. It's actually a sin. So yeah, be proud, you fucking idiots.
Oh,
Well,
very well said.
geez, Apex going biblical on everyone's ass.
That's right.
Did not see that one coming.
Well, not only that, but monkeypox is fucking destroying the homo community too.
Well,
you guys know that.
Well, I mean, I blame that on the cat boy here. I mean, he was talking about how much he loves monkeys like 3 weeks ago, and now monkeypox is here. Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah, he probably got intel.
Well, listen. As I was telling Akiba, I have people who who do work for the federal, who do work for, well, let's just put it bluntly, Congress, who are interested in a lot of these internet weirdos. And so I had to explain to my best friend in the world who Ethan Ralph was, and I was like, "Oh, where do you want me to start?" But I ultimately told him that, like, honestly, I don't think there's any reason for the feds, certainly not Congress at least, to be wasting their time watching this stuff.
Not unless they want a good laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially.
Or I don't even know if most people would laugh at a lot of this shit. I think those not familiar with the last decade or two of the internet in any real capacity other than their Facebook pages or Google and stuff, they don't. It's like I equate it to, like, when, as I've joked on the show before, that wrestling is for homosexuals, like.
Well,
grown men.
I gotta disagree a little bit, but okay.
I know it's obviously a joke. I just, I know Sammy and some of his internet buddies are about that.
Oh, okay, you're kayfabing. Oh, okay, all right. I'm watching.
Yeah,
I got you.
So I equate it to, like, people that don't understand, or even like UFC. I don't know. I can't even really put a good analogy on it, but they don't understand what they're looking at. In a lot of cases, it's so I think it's received mostly with disgust, even the shit that's funny or the stuff that's clearly jokes or bits being played up. That's what I think Ralph has been doing all this time. He thinks he's in the WWE, of the internet. He thinks he's Vince McMahon of the internet.
Which is exactly what we were talking about earlier. He wishes he does. He might think too. He might honestly think too. Although he wants to go a lot more of the classic route of people who are beloved because it's just easier for him to cope with things. The thing about Vince McMahon is he knew people hated him, and even as a character, like, he reveled in it, right? It was kind of like the King of Hate thing. But he likes to think, I'm jet flying, wheeling, dealing son of a gun. He wants to think he's this hot international playboy Ric Flair type who spends more money on spilt liquor than shoes. and this, that, and the other. And it's just like, at least if he went to the hate moniker, oh, then yeah, maybe he could do something with it, which he's trying to do now as he goes scorched earth on literally everyone.
Right. That's kind of what I actually think that is what he's doing. And his comparison is obviously way off. But if you really get down to the nuts and bolts of it, I mean, there's a whole fucking cottage industry here on the internet that swing from his every tweet, and you know, to make light of bullshit, or to edit things or whatever. Like he's just
or just a catalog.
Exactly. But he is his own little driver of this little sector. I don't know about from the top on down, but he is responsible for a great, tremendous, big, huge, folks, amount of content over the last since the whole faith thing started popping off.
Yeah, the first corn harvest in mid to late mid-late-ish 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, you had things like the pill stream where he was talked about a little bit like that, but he could definitely bounce back and make the comeback story, which a lot of guys did. Andy Worski has been the Artard Phoenix 3, 4, 5 times. He's on, I can't even remember which redemption arc, which season of the redemption arc he's on. But with Ralph, it certainly popped off with the corn harvest, because I think the thing is too, is that when something does pop with him and there is bountiful corn, there's so much that there do need to be people who need to break it down into bite-sized 10-minute, 15-minute segments, or who cover it on shows, because not everybody can always watch and go through all the farms and all the cow threads.
Of course.
And
I'm a huge fan.
And nobody wants to like fucking sit through his shows and rewatch them just for the couple of good bits, because God, you're going to be fucking singing the MASH theme by the time you're fucking halfway through any episode of the Kill Stream.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, look, I'm all for it, because like
he's made his own little economy off of
right,
him.
right.
Yeah, absolutely. People have made a shit ton of money. And
I think the only thing he's really doing wrong, in my opinion, besides the obvious all of it angle, but like he's not very good at playing the heel. It seems like he gets genuinely upset about some of this just basic ditch stuff, burning bridges and whatnot.
I do agree that he loses his temper way too often, but he also goes for a lot of he goes for what they call in the industry cheap heat. He does things that are just obviously like anybody would like boo it or reprehensible it, and he revels in it. But I think he's at his quote best entertainment wise when he actually is legitimately doing reprehensible, like when you don't hate him for just being a fat egotistical gun, you hate him because he's mentally manipulating people, people who have some sort of relations with him or things like that, how he treats particular people behind the scenes, the type of cabal and information control he does, things that are actually pretty fucking scummy, that like it's not just okay, laugh at this fat dude wearing a Burger King crown and then he gets his ass beat in Portugal the first time. It's nah, this is somebody that you'd like, if he did something to you or your ilk, you definitely want to just bash him in.
Yeah. Well, and I go back and forth on this,
and that's stuff I don't think he plans.
Oh no, I don't. I definitely don't think so. But he doesn't let off the gas pedal. But I go back and forth with this. Because you guys were talking, or Sammy mentioned a little bit ago, Owen Benjamin, how he got into this whole corner, and I am of this. That's how Sammy and I met. I was one of those. I was an Owen Benjamin clipper. I would sit, and my job at the time allowed me to just have the shit playing, and I would either physically write down timestamps, or just rewind and screen record on my phone. And I've posted hundreds of videos on that guy. And I mean, people came to me because who wants to sit through a fucking 5-hour live stream of Owen sitting in his yard, talking about goats or whatever stupid shit he'd be talking about, just to get the one or two good nuggets.
That, like, or it's those clips that make all the rounds.
And coming.
Right. Oh shit, I forgot what my point was now. Oh, starting off early tonight, boys.
That's where you came from. You came from that side. That's how you met
Yeah,
Sammy.
yeah, I know, but there was a reason that I was bringing Owen up in relation to Ralph, but it doesn't matter. I mean, they're all. I've said it before. I think they all, like the same rule book that I guess hasn't fully been like in 10 years. I've said, or 10 or maybe 15, 20 years, whatever. There will come out like some new sort of syndrome, mental illness that's like ones that have existed before, but has only been spawned thanks to the remote connectivity of the internet and how people can make literally millions of dollars and never leave their house. They can be a 400-pound fucking just obese. This Chantel, there's so many of them. You know,
yeah.
Yeah.
Or Nikocado, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Nikocado, right. That like, you know, they get famous. I don't know. I just feel like you've been on the internet long enough. They all almost everybody falls into the same like rut, or they trip up on the same. They build an audience. They think they're more important. Yeah, they think they're more important than their audience, or than their audience's opinions, and then they create enemies within that audience, and then you either crash and burn or. Oh, I guess that's one of the things I was going to bring up is Owen basically got wiped himself off the fucking internet. He's still doing shit, scamming a small handful of people, but back in our day, he was on the front page of YouTube. Like he was in people's recommendeds and, you know, getting 10, 15 Medicare numbers and some of those 5, 10, 15,000 people.
Well, and see the thing of it is like I said, I'm new to the whole like blood sports proper lore and whatnot in regards to Ethan Ralph. So I can't really speak to Ralph, but my impression with Ralph is that like he was kind of playing a bad guy and then he kind of like became that bad guy. Whereas like Owen, say what you will, but I think in the beginning when he was doing like political stuff, which is how I kind of found out about him in the beginning, I think Owen was trying to do like legitimately good things. I think he had a legit mental breakdown though, which kind of caused him to spiral.
Yeah, and the trolls certainly didn't help, and his you know, close affiliation with noted fucking scammer and, you know, pseudo rapist, that tiny little black dude whose name I honestly can't. Oh, Nimmer.
Oh yeah, Eric Nimmer.
Yeah, but yeah, I said it throughout all those years. Owen had genuinely legitimate and good information for people to hear. Things like, you know, raising animals and homesteading and having kids and you know, shit like that. There were always good messages in Owen's streams, but it was the psycho shit in between and also just genuinely bad information. Just whatever. I never even really hated Owen either. I just thought he needed. At the time, there was only one other person. It was Johnny Arcade, who I basically just, you know, mirrored his style and made my own style of just to kind of put a signal boost on it, because yeah, and it spawned a whole Owen hate group.
Well, the thing of it is if he hadn't like framed, you know, John Arcade, you know, or tried to, if he hadn't done what he did, and Porcelain did a whole documentary on Owen Benjamin, Akiba, that's pretty good.
It's pretty good,
so, yeah. If Owen hadn't gone after Johnny Arcade, I wouldn't.
Well, yeah. So right. I mean, I would agree with you. The short of it is, Akiba, I don't know if you know about this, but Owen, when people started to kind of fuck with Owen a little bit lightly, somebody sent him one of those bag of dicks gummies, you know, like you can go to one of those joke websites. They sent him a bag of dicks. And they're like, oh, eat a bag of dicks. He opened it up on live stream. As a prank, yeah. It wasn't addressed from anybody, whatever. So then, like a week or two, or maybe it was a couple months later, he went on live stream. He was on live stream talking to the chat, and he out of nowhere says that somebody sent him poisoned gummies, dick gummies,
What
and then
the
he
fuck?
he read out 2 people's names on that stream.
Shit.
Yeah, he like doxed these people and accused them of sending his family poison gummies to try and kill his children. With like 5,000
and
people
not,
watching, I was one of them.
yeah, and not just that, but the other implication was he didn't say go and kill these people, but
Yeah.
he basically but he
I
didn't
mean, you put
say
their
it, but
names out and you're angry in tone. You don't have to say go get them. Like people will pick up on the energy.
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Especially
and
yeah.
so and so and so you know. And so what was weird was like I actually like had and like I'm not saying this to be like what to be like oh poor me, but like I actually had people like legit like DM me like oh we're gonna find you because you're associated with this guy, and we're gonna come and find you and beat you up, and all this other stuff that was just like
God, fucking
geez.
ancient
So,
history. It's crazy how
yeah.
long ago that was.
But and like I get so like when Mr. Medicare talks like life ruination and whatnot, like that's immediately what I think of.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
stuff like
absolutely.
that.
You
So
like I mean as soon as you start like bringing people's names into it and doing all that, it is a complete other level. Like you can laugh at somebody and even do pranks till the cows come home and this, that, the other, but like it's taking it too seriously on top of it, and it never it's about as good as inviting people to fuck with you.
sure, and sure, and look, I mean, I think anyone really, not just in this circle, but anyone who's on the internet, really, we all have things, whether it be someone who's famous or just your crazy uncle or something like that. We all have things that we can probably be teased about and,
Oh yeah.
laugh about. And, that's just kind of the human condition. I don't mind if people, make fun of me per se. That's, it's whatever. But
People are
it's
going to
this
say what
whole
they
thing
say.
of
Yeah.
it's this whole thing of we're gonna ruin people's lives, and we're gonna
Yeah, it changes when
we're
you're
gonna
like when it turns from wow, look at this fucking idiot, and laughing and even being disgusted to I don't think this person should be allowed to do anything, and I'm going to make it my mission to make sure they don't get paid anymore, or that they can't do, when it comes to like
it goes from bullying to pettiness, I think, is where
But-
that big thing really comes into play.
and the pettiness it's deeper than petty, man. It's like it becomes like people start their own crusades, and the internet it just emboldens that too. Now with people like Ethan, I mean that fat motherfucker couldn't work. I don't think he's ever worked an actual job in his life. But if he couldn't,
he's admitted it and is proud of it.
right? Okay, see, and that doesn't surprise me. So yeah, I mean, I don't really care about the whole canceling people on the internet thing, because I don't exist in it like they do. I probably would have a different opinion if I made money on the internet, of any substantial degree, But I do have a real job, and if people pulled up the years worth of drunken racist shit I've said on this show alone, just on Sammy's show alone, and tried to present that to my bosses, whatever. I don't think that would preclude me from getting another job, though. It would probably get me fired from the one I have. But unless my haters were that dedicated,
blacklists, but it is kind of hard to get for outsiders to cause a blacklist like that, and it's got to be some really heinous shit. Like if it's a tech sector, yeah, you can probably get blacklisted if you have a wrong think or saying edgy shit on the net. But I mean, for most people, an average job, if they do it, and I think in some cases they're like a boss may look as like this dude's been working for me for 5, 4, 6, 7, 8 years. I don't give a fuck about any of this. He does good work.
Yeah, right.
Made our
Right,
program
yeah,
money.
or-
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, or he's a good guy IRL or
Or they'd
something
be
like
like,
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
or they'd be like, "Oh, holy shit, Based, what's the name of your podcast, bro?"
Which has actually happened to me a few times. So
Hell yeah,
Really?
dude.
oh yeah, I actually funny story. I actually had a college professor, and believe me, this is I realize this is super rare. I actually had a college professor check out my podcast once, and then he was like, "So I'm not even sure if I told you this, Apex." And he's like, "So I spoke to the college like psychology thing, and like here I'm like, oh boy, I'm like, here it comes." And they're like they're like some of the psychology professors are thinking of maybe like researching Ethan Ralph and some of this stuff just because
Oh, for God's sake.
psychologically he would be fascinating to kind of look at from like
Yeah.
an evaluation of narcissism. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm like, I don't see how you could really present Ethan Ralph in a class. I'm like, if you were to project one of his speeches in like a lecture, you would have to like make sure it's like in a heavily like soundproof room so that like the other adjoining rooms don't hear just endless squealing.
And pill
Uh,
shaking, yes.
Wait.
but
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like some of these characters would be, I guess, fascinating psychological studies. So
That's kind of what I
Oh,
was
yeah.
saying. That's what I was saying earlier. I feel like all of this shit's going to be taught in some sort. If the human race makes it another 100 years, and we still have things like the internet, that's going to be like basic psychology taught. You know what I mean? It's going to be like
It's
like
going to be
cursive.
that new wave of things that are taught about the internet. The basic things that they learn in school are going to be switched to netiquette, OPSEC, things like that. How to survive on the internet, how to
Yeah.
protect yourself on the internet,
Yeah.
what to be aware of. As there's more light now on mental illness, there will be more studies done into mental illnesses as a result of or caused by the internet, cyber psychosis sorts of things.
Yeah, or amplified by. I've said this before on the show too.
Yeah.
I strongly believe the internet's like it's a fucking microscope onto your. If you have any sort of mental deficiencies, it just magnifies it
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
yeah, which I mean let's be honest, we all do because we're human and we're flawed. So
Yeah, absolutely.
and I mean, this is kind of the point that I've made too with in regards to the whole Vickers clan is, look, I'm not saying that like, Mr. Vickers is perfect or that Faith is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously there's stuff to, to poke at them both, but I mean, the way I see it is like, look, I knew, girls in my high school who were dating older guys they probably shouldn't have been dating. The difference was those guys weren't internet famous. So
And probably didn't
like,
have
yeah,
nearly as bad abuse problems.
probably not. So like, when people like, want to like, make fun of Faith, I mean, I get, I get that. Oh yeah, she got gunted. Like, I get that, but it's like, I don't know. To me, it's just like, it's not as uncommon for teenagers to
Oh yeah,
fall
no,
for older.
that's incredibly common, whether they're aware of who they're falling for or not. It's incredibly common. The only thing is you don't usually see it because usually any guys that are doing that sort of thing aren't stupid enough to bring it into their online persona, their online world, or anything like that.
Exactly. So, and then that's kind of been my whole point with all that. So, I mean, Akiba, I do want to ask you from maybe a co-host perspective, and like
Mhm.
I don't know how often you talk to Mr. Vickers, but just like from your perspective, like I guess what has the whole Vickers saga, if you will, been like from your perspective?
In terms of like how I view him and things like that.
Just yeah,
Sure.
sorry.
Well, yeah, just that, and then
Your
also
yeah, you
like
like your overall like your overall perception of watching it. Like what have you've been your
yeah,
feelings about it?
I think Mr. Vickers has been put in a terrible fucking situation that I think any father of a daughter they'd want to avoid that kind of situation. And I think he's absolutely done the best that he can, or taking the steps that he thought were best to do what he can, because it is a very unique situation in terms of not
Indeed.
so much the daughter falling for an older guy or this, that, or the other. It is the amount of attention then brought onto the family. Normally, in a case like this, that the guy would, the father would handle the guy in a probably much more um, intimate one-on-one sort of way,
Sure.
and no one would ever know anything like that, and shit would probably get squashed a whole hell of a lot faster. But when you have a public eye on it, it's a lot more different. And not to say that, like, if nobody was watching Ralph or any of this would happen, that Vickers wouldn't handle it the same way. But it did give him, especially with the distance considered between California and Virginia, um, he had a very particular avenue where he could kind of do what he couldn't in a physical sense to solve the issue. On top of just not being able to know, uh, um, Faith doing what she did in order to pull the wool over their eyes, in order to go where she needed to go and things like that. Um, I mean, I'm sympathetic. I think anybody, I don't have children, but I can certainly understand where it's like that is a very tough spot to be in. And if
sure.
I couldn't do what I needed to do to protect mine and my blood and my kin, I would do whatever was within my power. You know what I mean? There are people
Yeah.
who say, "Oh, he's terrible with how he's handled it," and this, that, and the other in the internet. And everyone's gonna have their own opinion. Some people look for things in people to hate, and some people just like to maybe ride a high horse or pro clutch or whatever like that. Um, but I mean, it's not. I mean, there are probably worse ways he could have handled it. I can't think of what those worst ways are. Might there have been better? Yeah, it can go both ways. But you'd be just completely, you'd have to kind of convince yourself, I think, if you were going to look at him or Faith as bad people. The thing with Faith is like, hey, Mr. Vickers said it plenty of times, and it's obvious to see when the proof's in the pudding that, medication and good emotional and mental support from family can really help you, really, really do well.
Yeah.
Um, and in Mr. V's case, it's like, I mean,
It is a very unique situation, right? I
yeah,
mean,
it's completely odd, where I think most, even if you could say, okay, this dude's daughter left to go be with this streamer, I think in most cases, right? And let's look at the most common type of streamer out there, a video game streamer, somebody who streams video games. Generally speaking, and I say generally, I'm just fucking shooting it in the dark right here, that particular person probably wouldn't bring that girl into streams or mention them or post photos. They keep that aspect of their life private. And I know that there's lots of streamers that don't. They share their whole fucking life, which is never a smart thing. But in this case, also, you don't just have somebody who has an audience and has this viewership. You have someone who has created a persona and has a reputation for being hated. Which in turn it spins to where he does these particular things to piss off the father of the daughter, or releases revenge pornography, just very not smart things that most people who may, if they have that kind of particular situation in dating such a girl with a large age gap, there are several points where I think most people wouldn't have done certain things, in particular trashing gifts from the family, releasing revenge pornography, showing them off, trying to own the haters, saying, oh, they make up a bunch of lies, but here we are and he's got his fucking arm around her neck with a timestamp card. Like, there are just many points where even for this unique situation, it has gotten more and more unique because of what this individual does. And then it only causing more eyes on top of it, because there are so many people that have been looking for this dude's downfall, rightfully so or whatever. It gets even crazier, because then you have people like Aid come out of the woodworks talking about, he still has Nora's dildo and things like that. And it's just the stories that come out get even fucking wilder and wilder. I can't honestly imagine being in that kind of situation as a father. And I certainly don't think I would have been as level-headed person.
I certainly wouldn't have myself. And I think, and that is kind of one thing that, like, and I know that the haters are going to be like, oh well, Sam's just, he's a Vickers guard, or whatever you want to say. But one thing I've always admired about Vickers is the fact that, like, generally he's always been pretty level-headed.
Yeah.
And he's been pretty positive overall.
He's taken a lot of it in stride.
Whereas like a lot of people I know, especially a lot of dads I know who have daughters, if something like what happened with Faith happened to their daughters, they would go to wherever Ralph was, and Ralph would not be on this planet anymore.
Absolutely.
And I mean the fact that Vickers has just like logged him online, and that's and that's the worst thing that has happened. Like I almost kind of want to say, like, hey Ralph, you're lucky, because if you had done that to any of my neighbors, daughters who are retired military,
yeah,
you'd be running for your life.
Oh yeah, and especially in the thing of, is like, I think he's extremely lucky that Mr. Vickers has many more kids, and such a loving wife, because if this was a single father kind of situation, or even an only daughter, only child sort of situation, that father might be willing to do and deal with whatever repercussions that might come from handling such a situation.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially if the dad had, if Mr. Vickers had nothing left to lose, I'm pretty sure all bets would be off at that point.
Oh yeah, no. And I think too is that, like, Mr. Vickers is he tries to be understanding as he can, and I think there were multiple points where Ralph could have either done the right thing or attempted to break bread and make peace, and while not ideal, I don't know, I can't speak for him, but
Sure.
maybe something could have worked if he were at least a sincere, genuine, probably having to be severely autistic sort of guy. But even then, he wouldn't probably, he'd still probably try to, talk sense into faith of being like, hey, you sure? You sure? But
I'm looking at Twitter right now, and it appears, well, this is an hour ago, but it appears Mr. Vickers is legitimately concerned about Ethan Ralph right now. The tweets as of late, particularly unhinged. I don't know if he's fired his attorney and he's just thinking fuck it or what. He's acting like a cornered animal. And then the next tweet I see is Cringe Mama. She says he won't though. He wants someone else to kill him. I'm assuming someone suggests he might off himself.
Yeah, he's very self-destructive in his nature, and I think that's what kind of caused his I believe there was a conversation with Randbot where he's like, I would be honored if I died in the ring against you. I lived more than you ever if you killed me in combat or whatever. Like there is so much self-destructiveness.
He's a coward though. He's a coward.
Yeah. He doesn't want to deal with what he's done. He would rather somebody kill him probably.
No, it's all kayfabe, as you fucking homos say. No, sorry. But no, that's why he didn't, it's why so many of these things have happened the way that they did. I mean, that's why he released revenge porn. He was trying to take a fucking stab at that poor, heartbroken kid. Whatever, I don't know the whole story, weirdo, whatever the fuck, but he was obviously
I wouldn't
upset.
say poor heartbroken. He kind of
he
tried to be shitty about what he was. His intentions weren't well. Let's just say that.
Okay, well, fair enough. But
Chris Kerr is a particular sort of individual that I don't think anyone would say those things about. But yes, he was so ill-intended with why he did it.
Well, exactly. Regardless of the intention of the young man streaming, Ralph acted like very, you know what I mean? Like not like a man, very.
Oh yeah, no,
immature.
And it's obvious he's not had a man figure in his life, especially early on, to teach him basic core things that someone says overly machismo or toxic male masculinity. Well, if the opposite of toxic male masculinity is sending out revenge porn to try to own an ex-EBF, I would take toxic masculinity any day of the week.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
So for the people listening on audio,
I did just read all those. I was just showing you. Oh, I didn't read the last. I didn't read the last one though, which is the one that I was I guess not confused about. But Mr. Vickers says that in response to he won't though, he wants someone else to kill him. This is the thing that concerns me. Some half-wit plan to go out in a blaze of glory, and I know that he knows the easiest way to do that. Praying that he doesn't put anyone here in that position. Yeah.
Well,
so,
I mean,
I don't know.
I think
I
think maybe it's a reference to the Battle of Medicur's Driveway. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well,
because Jim said he'll do what he has to do.
Of course,
but he'll also said he'll just call the fucking cops and put up some cardboard cutouts and a banner. So who knows?
Well, I mean, so I forget which channel I saw on, but like I said, I actually saw one of the one of the channels that had clipped the Portugal 2 fight with Cog and or I guess Cog's bodyguard and
King
Ralph.
Dan, yes.
And someone in the comments of this video made like a point that like, if Ralph like basically keeps like, daring people to like come at him and and fight him and kill him, like eventually his luck is gonna run out. I mean, I'm not saying that like I wanted Ralph to to die, but like some of those hits that he took, like I'm not saying they were intended to harm, to like kill Ralph, but like had his head hit the pavement anymore. I mean,
Those were not that hard of punches, man. I mean, they were. He
They
definitely
looked like he got fucking walloped and clocked constantly.
yeah, maybe not, but also like, I mean, I hate to say this, but like, you know, people die from just falling on the ground all the
That's
time.
true.
Oh yeah,
That's
sometimes
true.
they get knocked out, and the second they hit the ground, it's enough to just kill them. Yeah, I've seen those kinds of videos.
And so
Yeah.
like I'm just saying, like, what happens when Ralph pisses off the wrong guy, and you know, someone like
I can tell you exactly what happens. He doesn't have to take care of Pantsu. He doesn't have to take care of Rosie. He doesn't have to pay child support. He doesn't have to answer in court for anything he's ever done in his entire goddamn life. And he can go out thinking that he's going to go out this poor victim when after a couple of fucking weeks, nobody's going to talk about him and history will forget him. Other than as a joke.
See,
Yeah,
I think
well-
that's well, I have a different opinion. Again, I think ultimately he is a coward. He's a pussy.
Oh, that's why he wants the death. I agree. He's a coward.
I don't well, no, cowards don't seek death. They seek to live forever, you know, by whatever means necessary. He'll like, I think he's more likely to slink around forever. He's going to live till fucking he's 85 years old. That fat piece of shit.
Well, I think it
I'm just
ties into
kidding.
the I think it ties into the Medicare projection of you ran. That's why you changed your name, Jim. The name your daddy gave you. You can't answer for what you've done. And as with many projections that he puts onto other people of things he's done, I think he doesn't want to answer for what he's done. He's obviously gone under so much stress because of the life choices he's made regarding childbirth and other such things. You can see it in his face. You can see it in the grayness of his hair. He's in his mid fucking 30s. He shouldn't be graying that hard when he wasn't 5 fucking years ago.
Yeah, bro, he's like fucking 2 or 3 years older than me, and I have some gray hairs, but good God.
Yeah, no, he looks like he's gone through a presidential term almost.
Yeah, I'm also 200 pounds lighter and a foot taller. So.
Well, also though, you don't like constantly abuse your body with booze and pills and
Oh, you don't know that,
Trash
Sammy.
burgers. Oh boy.
So you're Keith Richards Apex? Is that what you're trying?
Hey, that's right, baby. That's right.
Oh my
You're oh my God, that's actually a good Keith Richards. I'm not gonna lie.
See, Sammy, you always do it to me. You can't compliment me when I do something good. Then I get self-conscious. You just have to roll with the bit, man. And I would have kept talking.
But as to the coward thing, I do agree that most cowards generally want to live, but I think Ralph has certainly understood. I think that he does have moments of clarity, and you've seen it in linked conversations and things like that. But I think he has very much come to the term of how fucked his life is going forward. And the act he puts forward of being this jet flying, wheeling, dealing son of a gun, he knows how much of a facade that really is. We've seen conversations he's had with Faith about vomiting up black shit. He knows deep down the future of pain he's in, especially considering he has another child to take care of. The pressure will always be on him, and he only becomes more irrelevant as the days go on. He used to do Medicare numbers on YouTube. He used to have a point where he was famous, and now he's grifting any political side he can, not even staying true to his own values. There's nothing true about him. And this massive just hole he's dug himself, dead or otherwise, all these things that are catching up to him, I think he's such a particular coward where that's why he wants it, because it's twofold, where it releases him, where he doesn't have to answer for those things the same way he accuses Jim of doing, but also he gets to go out in his mind and feed into his own delusion once more that he is a martyr, or he is targeted, he is a victim, and da 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 da.
Um.
Yeah.
Okay, so Milker actually brought in some
Ooh, Milker's back in the chat.
yeah, Milker is he's a good guy. Have you guys covered Nick Fuentes? Yeah, tonight. Well, no, Milker, but we have covered Nick over the past few weeks.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I've actually not
Go
really
for it.
paid that close of attention. I mean, obviously Nick is a homosexual, Catboy, and all the other shit. But the whole cum like angle, like I listened to Cum Town, and fucking I feel like cum is being it's becoming a dirty word again, man. I'm seeing it too much.
Well, if it's not, Cummies certainly is, because there's just an air about that gives me the heebie-jeebies every time I hear the Mexican leader of the white race using the black light to search for his cummies.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, is there like some new lore, like breaking lore? Akiba, do you know?
The
Or is
newest.
it just more the same? Go ahead.
Well, from what I've been able to, I guess that like from what I saw, like the latest lore is that like I guess like last week sometime, Nick was like streaming and he was streaming it like, oh, look at how awesome Cozy TV is. We're growing, like look at our metrics. So he had his metrics, and then I guess he had like all his tabs pulled up, and then like on like the very far on the very far right tab there was like
Or the one in the back, because it was on mobile.
yeah.
I think that. Oh yeah, I heard about this. I thought that was proven fake, or mostly
No, that was
fake.
proven true due to pizza imagery of Imagine eating this good and things like that, and him literally deleting the Twitter account on air.
Right.
I do think it was I do think it was him. And whether or not it's true, I don't particularly care, because that's just funny.
It's funny. Exactly. I don't really care.
We already fucking know, like he's very unhinged. He's very skewed in his thoughts and what he wants and things like that. The actual most recent one is he's actually been going pretty much completely scorched earth against his former, quote, best friend Jaden, accusing him of, last I heard, being a pedophile. In which it led to a hilarious sound clip that Medicare retweeted, and so did I, where he said, this guy is depraved, he's a degenerate and a pedophile, and I defended this guy for so long, and I looked out for this guy and protected him. And so it just comes across the way it's like, you defended somebody who you knew or claim, rather, he claims Jaden was a pedophile, but you defended somebody who you thought was that?
Well,
Interesting.
see, I have a whole theory about that. Not with Nick, but just in general. To me, pedophile kind of seems like the right-wing version of Nazi.
Oh, it definitely
in the sense that like now when people use it, I don't even think they're really serious. I don't think they're really serious about it. Like,
which is fucked up. That is way more fucked up than Nazi losing its fucking meaning, or fascist meaning losing its meaning. Fucking pedophile? Are you serious? That one needs to mean. Jesus fucking Christ.
You want that one to carry some fucking weight,
Yeah.
It almost seems like it's on purpose.
Shit, could you imagine?
No. You actually make a valid. Well, I mean, same with Nazi though. I mean, it's almost like someone wants to get both those terms.
Bro, the thing is that there are
same. They're not even close to the same.
The thing is, there are still pedophiles out there everywhere. People who are part of the German Nationalist Socialist Party don't exist anymore because that party doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
You can say somebody is maybe a supremacist
Right.
or things like that, which they also, of course,
Fascist.
try to do, fascist as well. Even though they don't know anything to the level of Mussolini or Stalin fascism. But we're not talking about that. That's the big thing, though. That's why that needs to carry so much weight, I feel, is because no, there are people who are pedophiles and, you know, who do want to legitimately harm kids. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
when you accuse someone, that should be taken seriously. Okay, yeah, call them a commie, call them a fucking Nazi, and have it just be word slung. But if you're gonna accuse somebody of that or call them that they're,
Or here's an idea. Here's an idea, folks.
you want people to look and see, and if there's nothing there, there's nothing there. But it's like the boy who cried fucking wolf.
Exactly.
Right.
Except this time the wolf has a candy van.
Open a thesaurus and find words, different words that describe your feeling instead of putting them all under blanket terms. You know?
All right.
That's a good.
I want to bring
idea.
up that
Well,
Nick Fuentes
I-
didn't know Spartacus and the Sandal. You think any Zoomer knows what a fucking thesaurus is?
yeah.
Right. They don't even know what the save button on their Microsoft Word means.
You're lucky. You're lucky if they know what a dictionary is.
Yeah. Encyclopedia Britannica. Who is that? I ain't met that bitch yet.
Milker says his ex-friend, his ex-friend
said he was addicted to trans porn and was beaten off three to four times a day. Right?
You know
Yeah,
what?
yeah, I had heard that.
You know what? Who and my whole thing with that is like who gives a fuck about
And honestly, I'm inclined to not believe that, because why would he? I don't understand why. A, he would know that, and B, he would, the whole defend, the Janny syndrome. Why you would pretend to be this America, all this bullshit that America First pretends to stand for, and hide that for your leader. I mean, okay, whatever. I understand loyalty to some degree, but then to just pull it out all of a sudden after this tranny video on this Twitter account thing. Look,
well,
man,
he didn't. It's that Nick has been going after him nonstop. He's been going after his family, after his donators. Jaden never even wanted to come forward with any of this. He wanted to walk away like another associate did. But Nick, he made 2 posts, walked away. Nick started to go after him. So he got on Kino Casino with PPP and Andy Worski, started dropping a lot of bombs, held a good chunk back. But even after that, and Nick knows, like, he's trying to say, dude, I don't want to do this, but you forced my hand. Indirectly trying to tell Nick, look, stop.
Okay.
And Nick hasn't stopped.
Okay,
so he's like, here's the rest of it that I was trying to hold back. And it's not necessarily like, because when he came forward, it was Nick talks to feds. Nick has his money back. He's lied to everyone. It's a lot of the big, like, crime-esque shit.
Sure.
So now he's unloading just the super embarrassing stuff that, like, doesn't really matter, but it's just like, dude, I have all this shit on you.
Well, yeah, let me float this by you real quick, though, because Nick's, I mean, I am aware that Nick's been going at Jaden, and you just said that he called him a pedophile recently.
Yeah.
So he's going to that level. Now, this little Twitter video thing, real or not, disregarding that, it comes out, and you, Jaden, being Nick's longtime, quote unquote best friend, with all this inside dirt, is it not possible that he would just say something like that to kind of throw fuel on Nick's fire as Nick's trying to do to Jaden? Is that not above internet etiquette? Is that not something that you? I mean, it seems likely to me.
It's possible, but the thing is that Nick has said so much weird shit,
right?
That it's like even if he is making this up, there's probably a level of based reality in it.
Okay, yeah, actually, I'll definitely would give you that. Like, let's say Nick has admitted to Jaden that he's jerked off to tranny porn before. Like, he said that he has done that before, and then just embellish it a little bit. He does it 3 or 4 times a day.
Well, I think
Oh,
part of the thing too
yeah.
is that it was the context of which he said it, which if I remember the clip, and I might be wrong, it was that he was trying to tell Nick, don't masturbate all the time. Don't
Right.
engage in that. Get out and talk to actual girls and form actual connections. And that's because he I mean, let's be real. Addiction to pornography is a real thing in the digital age, especially with younger people who are exposed at a very young age to it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Sure.
And when he first said it, it did seem, it can be fucking telling the truth or not, but like the way he put it is that like he was trying to help him and give him advice, like so he could get him on a better path and maybe actually have that whole political movement actually kind of have some validity to it. But then I mean, it's just it's already degenerate in its own nature of chronic masturbation. So just to add to that, I mean, it's not a far stretch of the imagination to go, yeah, it's probably some crazy degenerate porn like that or worse.
Yeah, for sure.
I
But
mean,
as a kid, that's Sammy. That's like you've been on the internet since I don't know when Nick started, but you've been doing this internet thing for a long time. You understand how the internet works. Can you see yourself making a mistake like that? Like broadcasting from your phone, having watched porn already. You know what I mean? Like, do you think you could make that mistake, honestly?
oh, sure. That mistake
Okay.
is, I mean,
I
can,
actually can bring up a perfect example of that, if I may.
Well, see the Apex. I guess here's kind of where I kind of take umbrage with all this. For me, like I don't really care that like this is one of the things that is like so weird about like I guess politics. Kind of since I've been in it because I've been in politics for like a long time. It got like it went from being like really weird from like just being like talking of like free markets and your First Amendment, Amendment rights, Bill of Rights to all of a sudden like these teenagers and these young college students start talking like don't masturbate, don't watch porn, don't do this and don't do that. Meanwhile, like at like Turning Point USA is a perfect example of this. Like Brandy Love, the porn star, got booted from a Turning Point USA event that she wasn't even speaking at. And Turning Point's response was, "Well, we don't know who she is." Okay, well then, if none of you knew who she was, then why did she get booted? Well, uh, um, and I'm like, So obviously somebody
Shit.
knows who she is. It's
I'll be
just
right back,
that
fellas.
it's just. I guess it's just like if you watch porn like that, that's fine. But just like don't moral fag about like not watching porn or whatever. That
And
just
I
like
think that's
drives
the
me.
thing too. It's not so much to like make fun of him of haha tranny porn. It's only embarrassing or bad in the way because of the way he's portrayed himself.
Right. It's the whole thing of like rule. I guess it's the whole thing of like rules for me, not for thee. Like I guess that's the thing that drives me crazy is
Mhm.
it's like it's like yeah um like it's one thing to be um it's one thing to be like saying well like don't do this, but then a lot of these people do the exact
Mhm.
same thing. So
And Milker Nation said making a mistake like that, I think, is further evidence of an addiction. He can't even browse the news in Safari without having a XXX tab open. I mean, absolutely, he is the sort to like watch porn mobily, not have to be on the computer to partake in it. And I think maybe that's kind of why it's left in, is that that credibility is there and things like that. I mean, it can go either way. It did seem a little on the nose of it just happens to be there and it happens to be the type it is. But I can also see perhaps, him not paying fully attention, or, at least with even Ralph, I can say, oh, he's drunk as a fucking drunker on pills. That's why I didn't use common sense. But people having, mishaps like that happen very regularly. I'm a big fan of an old defunct television network called Tech TV. And there was a show on that network named Leo Laporte, who hosted several different shows and eventually went into the private sector doing his own web show and things like that. And, you never would hear it back during the cable days, but he certainly seemed to be sort of the lecherous sort of gentleman, in which there were multiple recorded instances of, despite him being in broadcasting from a TV day and being on the cutting edge and doing things for NBC, doing motion capture in the fucking 90s and things ahead of their time, being 10, 20, 25 years, 30 years veteran in the industry, there are still multiple times where he has gone to type in a link and you would see a link to a porn actress's particular page, or in one case he went to go look for a photo in demonstrating an app, and he completely on live stream showed a picture of his penis. Now thankfully it wasn't the full picture, it was a thumbnail in a vast assortment of a phone scroll of pictures.
Sure.
But this is a man who's been in broadcasting for over 2 decades.
Yeah, that is
and
a good
made
point.
a very big blunder.
That is a good point. And Milk, Sammy's comment, or chat rather, that Milker makes a good point. I actually didn't even think about it, because Nick Fuentes is one of those that I've not really paid a whole lot of attention to. He's always just been, for whatever reason, I just haven't been that interested in paying attention to him. So, but no, the whole idea that making a mistake like that, having the porn on his screen during a live stream or during opening a tab, is further evidence of an addiction. He can't even browse the news in Safari without having an XXX tab open.
Or rather, okay, so the way those tabs worked, if I'm not mistaken, the one at the front is like the home page. It's the first one you open, and it was in the middle of a video. So I can almost completely buy that, he handled his business, paused the video to maybe finish at a later session, and then was opening up and doing other tabs while doing all these other apps.
I think I saw it, and there was like 20 or 30 tabs open, and they were all like
there were like 8 or 9. I thought
it seemed like there were a shitload. Like he was scrolling through a bunch of analytic pages, and then
comparison
scrolled
pages,
too far.
Yeah, he went for one in the middle, and you could see at least one at the very tip top. I don't know if it was the first, but yeah. And the thing is that screenshot was, I think it was like a 4-minute, 40-second video, 5-minute video, and it was like a minute 42 or something in. Like, he wasn't that far into this short video. So, but he's like, I'm gonna save that one for later. So I mean, I can definitely see it.
Damn, that's wild. Porn addiction.
Yeah, it's one of those crazy new internet things.
Can you imagine if, like, why don't they just get some pussy?
He would rather have a monkey. That's why. A monkey and a duck ass mouse pad.
I mean, yeah, he could just go old school and be some kind of serial killer. Paint them up like they should be.
Well, instead of paint, he puts cat ears on them.
Exactly.
Come on now.
Staple a a staple, some sort of phallic device to the front, and you got a cat boy. Do what you want now. Come on, Nick,
Well,
make us some content.
well, listen. As Apex said to me a few weeks ago.
Oh, sweet Jesus!
Because I was I was talking how these nursing students were hitting on me a few weeks ago, and I don't know if you were sober, Apex, but
Go on.
but Apex said something akin to, well, so you don't need to worry. You should just let those nurses do whatever they want to you, and just go on with it or something. I mean, it wasn't it wasn't that bad what he was like. I just thought.
Okay.
I was funny.
The nurse is hitting on you. Look, there's a long recorded history of I don't know exactly what it's called, but like when nurses / female or male doctors, I think it's more female, like fall for patients, like male patients. I swear that's a thing. I mean, it is a thing. I just don't know what it's called. But look, there's something endearing to these women who their whole professional goal is to help people. So Sammy, if they're gonna hit on you, man, you should soak that shit up like a sponge.
Yeah, and that's basically what you said. You also said, and this was kind of where you were a little drunk. You were like, Sammy, I think you have I think you're dealing with Nightingale syndrome or something like.
Oh, that's exactly what it's called. Damn, look at that.
Drunk, you remembered, but not
look
now.
At that.
Well,
that is incredible. Go ahead.
Quote. I will quote you. I don't fucking know what it's called. I think it's Nightingale syndrome, but I could be wrong.
Oh.
But that's what you're dealing.
That's what you're dealing with. Are you reading DMs right now?
What? No,
is that what you're doing?
No,
okay. I'm just kidding.
No, well, I told you this. I told you this story on stream like 3 weeks ago or something. Which, anyway, I don't know. So Nick, I guess get yourself like a male nurse or something like that.
There you go. Yeah, he just needs to get hurt. He needs to pull and he needs to go with Ralph next time he goes to a foreign country, and then dare everybody to come where he's at, and get his eyeball caved in or something.
Are you kidding? Do you think a homosexual man could stand being around Ethan Ralph with his fashion sense, with his attitude?
Oh no, I'm talking about Nick. Nick needs he needs the
Oh, I thought you meant to go with Ralph.
No, like they would go somewhere together as like their little homosexual streaming thing. But once they got jumped and beat up, or a plane engine fell on one of them or whatever, and they end up in the hospital, they wouldn't be in the same room. Nick would have his own little spot and his own little like hot fucking muscular, super chill and based also male nurse. That could pick him up and wipe his ass and all the, all that other shit.
So Milo basically needs to dress up in like a nurse's outfit.
No, Milo's way too gay. No, he needs like the gay dudes that exist. Well, I don't know how many of them exist anymore. Most of them died of fucking AIDS. But the ones that would beat your fucking ass, like legit, back in the day, the real fucking homos that,
got scraped knees and shit. Hole washers, they called them.
They gave blowjobs without. They didn't need fucking knee pads. It didn't matter if you were in fucking gravel, man. They were down.
God. Oh,
no, but the biker queers, which I'm sure there's still plenty of them. But yeah.
you're saying he needs a dominant bear type homosexual man.
Yeah,
in his life?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Well,
But not a super
Well, then-
not super homo either, you know? Like not real flamboyant. It's got to be like a daddy, you know?
So
Well,
like Willem Dafoe in the
well, then-
Boondock Saints, where like Nick will try to cuddle with him, and he'll slap him and go, Nick will say,
yeah.
I just wanted to cuddle, and then the guy will tell him, cuddle.
What are you, a fucking
walk
faggot?
away.
What are you, a faggot? Go to your room, put your cat ears on.
God, that was a good scene. That was fucking hilarious.
That is such a terrible movie. That is one of those movies that like I remember being like, oh fuck yeah, when I was a kid, and then I watched it again within the last 5 years or so, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is a piece of shit. I mean, it has its moments.
I still think it's a fucking gem of a movie.
Oh, it has its moments for sure, but it's just such a.
I love a
piece.
cult.
It's a piece.
It's fucking hilarious.
There's a lot of really like the funny is definitely funny still, very funny. But go ahead, Sammy.
there was a firefight.
There was a firefight. Like, oh my god, it's as long as you don't take it seriously, I think that's what makes it a good movie. And still hasn't pulled up.
And look, there's a lot of movies like that, but
True.
yeah, I mean, it's just okay. Let me just say this: it just doesn't. It didn't hold up in the way it did in my memory when I watched it again recently. I remember it being
No.
a much better movie.
I still
like in
think it's a
general.
much better movie.
Well,
I'm
right
so
on, man.
sorry. I feel bad for you. Oh,
It's all right. Some of us, you know, don't grow up for a while. I'm just kidding, man.
maybe that's why I
Wow.
still play video games.
Yeah. I'm just kidding, man.
Oh,
So yeah, so Nick is yeah, again, I think
I thought you were going to
that-
originally say that he needs the type of gay individual who can help him come out the closet. That's what I
Well-
thought you were going to say.
well, I mean,
Well,
that might help, but he will lose all of he's another one. He's spent his whole life on the internet and he's a millionaire as a result. He could probably quit and go into real estate or some homo shit with his boyfriend.
But the feds are saying, nah, you ain't quitting yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, coming out would be. I don't know. I think
Milo
he needs a.
2.0. Milo was a heavily right-winged, hated dude who really liked black dick. It's possible. It can
Yeah.
work, but he would rather skirt around it talking about owning a monkey.
Right.
Is speaking of, is Milo still LARPing as like a Catholic straight?
Yeah, I thought he went
guy?
to like straight conversion camp or something, didn't he?
I actually do not know. I,
Yeah,
like many,
the-
stopped hearing about him when he fell off the face of the earth and became a federal asset. Well, more than the one he was before. But anyway, he might have.
Yeah, the last time I checked, he was like working for the Catholic version of like Home Shopping Network or something.
Oh
Which-
my god.
which-
Milo, sell me a
which-
cross. I'll buy it.
which I didn't even know that existed, but apparently it does. So,
I mean, if there's farmersmeat.net, a dating site for farmers, I can see there being a Catholic shopping home network hosted by Milo Yiannopoulos.
that would actually be like a good SNL skit. But the
Yeah,
thing
that
of it
actually
is, it's fun. But the thing of it is, it's funnier because it actually exists. So
Yeah. And I think that's where to kind of circle it on back the whole way around. I think that's why so many people enjoy watching this kind of shit, like Ethan Ralph and all of these unhinged sorts of folks. It's like reality TV,
Yeah.
but it's real.
well, I feel like that's how just politics has been for the past
Oh, God,
decade
yes.
or so.
Yeah.
I mean, Obama. I mean, people want to bash Trump for, oh, he's a reality TV star. And yeah, that's true, but it's like, but Obama wasn't. and really, if we go back far enough, I mean Clinton and the whole Lewinsky Gate
Ronald
thing.
Reagan did a movie with a monkey. He was living Nick Fuentes' dream.
Yeah.
Uh,
Fucking
yeah,
bedtime with Bonzo over here and shit.
the thing of it is I'm not sure that Ronnie was like wanting to fuck monkeys though either. So.
You don't know, man. Never see Nancy Reagan?
That's
Oh.
she got Just Say No from somewhere, and she didn't come up with it. I'll say that much.
Well,
Nancy, I'll just tell you,
well,
I'm just gonna say no.
Nancy, I'll just tell you. I have to say no. What, Sammy?
all I'll say on that is there's a reason why Reagan and Frank Sinatra had a falling out apparently, and it wasn't because of Frank's shitty final album he did, but also I have to say, I mean, I love the Reagans as much as anybody, but in all seriousness, Frank, why would you have done Nancy Reagan at that age? I mean,
Yeah. Maybe
I mean,
just
they
because he
were-
could.
Yeah, probably at that point. Let's see.
I
Uh,
invited Milker if he's available to come onto the show. If he's still,
Yeah,
I think the Milker Nation Twitter account is still up. I could tweet him or DM him rather the link to the show.
Oh.
Don't
And it'd be
publicly tweet that.
Yeah, it would be a lot easier to, because I mean, look, we talked about Owen Benjamin earlier, and how I kind of mirrored Johnny Arcade's style and just clipping him, and the only thing I did different than Johnny was commentary. I would pause the video sometimes and do comment. I never did that long of videos, but Milker Nation came along and started his very own style of Owen clipping. And I mean, infinite bounds beyond superior in quality to anything that both either Johnny or I had ever done. And he still, I believe, has a catalog. I don't know if it ever got booted off. I hope it didn't get booted off of YouTube, but he has entire sagas clipped down. I mean, dozens of hours clipped down into, half a dozen or so.
well, not just with Owen, but also Milker around the time that Mersh started fucking with me. Milker started clipping Mersh. So that
Oh,
was,
yeah. That's true.
By the way, Apex. R.I.P. the Twitter account of Jesse PS.
No, not only Jesse PS, but Mersh's Twitter account got nuked right after he was calling Nick gay on Ethan. I think it was either under I don't know if it was to Ethan Ralph or it was just he was tweeting out shit that saying Nick was gay. But Porcelain also got banned again.
It's kind of insane how many accounts have been going down.
Yeah, America First Zoomers, they got nothing to do but watch tranny porn and do
I mean,
their
say
Lord's,
what you will
do their
about
Lord's bidding.
About the homosexual cat boys, they can scratch at least, I guess.
Yeah. Fucking little nerds. But guess what? They are not immune to a swift fucking kick, and they will go far when you kick them because they're small. They're small, and you were big.
Unfortunately, though, you can't kick them in the balls because they don't have any.
Well, some of them do. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, now I'm thinking about cats. Sorry.
I'm always thinking about pussy, but that's because I'm a degenerate, somewhat.
Of
At
course.
least you're honest with it, and you don't try to LARP as a savior of the white race.
Yeah, no. Honestly, I imagine half of Apex's inner thoughts must be, God damn it, Sam, this kid is obsessed with tits.
Nah,
So
it's not
on
true.
That's not true.
on what I'm obsessed with tits. That is true. But
I mean, that just means you're a healthy young man. That's all that means.
yeah. But no, as far as what goes on in my co-host's brain, I mean, I'd like to think I know somewhat, but I don't.
No.
That's
No, you
probably
sure
that's
don't.
probably good. That's probably a good thing, or maybe not.
Who
Little
knows,
column
man?
A, little column B.
I don't want to hype this up too much, but we might have a very special guest here shortly. So
Really?
instead of hyping it up, we're just going to continue talking about
Okay.
how Sammy is obsessed with titties, because he is,
Okay.
and he doesn't get enough of them in his life. That is true. So listen,
I-
girls, if you've got
I,
tits,
I, I,
send them to my friend Sammy here at streamlabs.com/the Whitfield Report. Send your tits in the form of money.
Beautiful.
Also tits.
I,
Also,
I
Uh-oh.
oh boy.
Uh-oh.
back and
Oh, Sammy, we didn't hear a word of that, buddy. Something's going on here, bro.
oh shit.
What
Okay, you're
did
good
you
now.
do?
I think.
Yeah.
I think you're stable now.
Okay, am I back?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we didn't hear anything
Okay.
anything of that.
Well, of course not. What all I was saying is I went back and rewatched your episode with the good, the bad, and the vicious, Apex, because it was so good.
That was a good episode.
Was
and
it?
I noticed.
I thought so.
I didn't. I hate listening to anything I ever do. So I tried. I listened to the first few minutes of it, and I'm like,
Oh no, no, that was a very good show. That was
Good.
for such a serious topic. Your position on things and how you came at them definitely made that a lot better than I would have. It was going, and okay, interesting.
Right. Well,
Because
good.
I wouldn't have really fucking said too much in being the devil's advocate, because
I have to, especially now remembering, actually thinking back to it. Yeah, that I had no idea what I was in for. We didn't really talk about topics or anything, much like this show. So I was well seasoned in just going in blind. And I too have I have respect, or not, maybe not respect, for both sides, but I can see and understand certain perspectives from both Ralph's side and the way just trying to put myself in his position, not saying any of it's right or wrong, and given the opportunity to speak to them on the platform. I thought, because they either get softball, it seems from what I have seen anyway, that they've gotten a lot of softball, like you're saying, like a lot of yes and of course sort of thing, or the hardball, fucking just spurg, hard opposite direction, where it's like, there's nothing they could say that would be right, sort of thing.
Somebody would pick something wrong out of anything to say.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
I feel like I think it's fair to, and not that I'm unique in thinking that way, but it's just the way I came at it. Again, I had no I'm glad it was a good show, though, because maybe I should listen back to it. But
Yeah, you should.
I enjoyed the hell out of being there. But what were you saying, Sammy? What was your point?
My point being is that you referred to me as you referred to me as oh, and I co-host the Playmate Obsessed Sam Whitfield show
The what?
of the
The
Playmate
what?
the
Playmate Obsessed.
Oh, Playmate Obsessed. Okay. That's pretty good. I mean, come on.
No, that was how you introed me, and I thought about maybe I should update my Twitter bio with that. But
Well,
then I
you know
thought,
what? You probably just went on some little Twitter rant about some Playmate right before I went live with them. I bet you that's why. I bet you that's why I brought it up.
maybe I'll have to check.
I mean, come
I'll
on,
have to
bro.
check- I'll have
The likelihood is up there. Let's be honest.
well,
If not, go ahead.
well, I've also been ranting at how much I hate the tank battles in Batman Arkham Knight.
Oh,
that's
dude. You got your PlayStation after that. That's long after. Excuse me. Long after that. Come on, bro.
Oh yeah, that's actually true. So
yeah. So
But-
I mean, I also called you my handsome ass crippled friend. And I called you handsome a bunch of times. See, look, you can't talk shit till you listen to the whole thing, because I don't even remember what I said. But
No, and
I remember most of it was good because I DM'd you afterwards. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck it is about going on other people's shows, but I'm always super nice and complimentary to Sam, instead of when I'm sitting here talking to him and looking at looking at your goofy ass that I love so very much, crippled little shit. I say things like that instead of like, oh, he's such a good boy and I love him so much.
Well,
He's so sweet.
well,
Please go donate to him,
well-
Sam WNGC.
well. Listen, I realized that you shoot on me on my stream because someone has to. That's what I've chalked it up.
Well, maybe
what I've
that's
chalked it up
maybe
to.
that's it, Sammy. Just like I did. It's like I have some sort of weird counterbalance where like you deserve a lot of sympathy just solely for your position in life. Now, obviously, you're crippled, but you're not that incapable. I know that, but you're still crippled, man. And you're so you need some negativity, even in the form of comedy, just coming from the other side. I feel like just to balance the world out a little bit,
Just to keep you sharp.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Although you were, I will say you could have made fun of me when when I had my Biden meltdown after the 2020 election, but you didn't.
Well, no.
Maybe you weren't here. Maybe you weren't here for that though. Oh shit! We have a guest,
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Please give a warm welcome for Milker Nation.
Yay!
Welcome to the program, Mr. Milker. Or
calling all milkers.
Nation.
calling all milkers. Anyway, while he figures out his mic, yeah. Whoa, wow. That sounded like the ocean in one of my ears just now.
Yeah, far left field.
Yeah,
Heard that one.
yeah. Sammy, I dig the Medicare hat, but you need to figure out how to bend your hat like a redneck to bend the bill. You gotta like put a baseball in there.
I think there's a starter cap commercial that instructs how to do that quite well from the 90s.
Serious? For real?
Yeah.
Oh my God! Actually,
Like how you roll the bill of the starter caps. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Damn.
I've tried to bend this, but is I'm I'm waiting for audio from Milker, but I can't hear.
Hold on. I'm gonna share my screen again while he figures this shit out because Genius Zane is just posted something. I haven't even watched it yet, so I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna be getting into here. All right.
Hilarity.
It says, I've been given exclusive footage of Apex Gamma, co-host of handicapped accessible internet talk show Sam WNGC fighting a cat boy. So we're going to watch that real quick.
Hey.
Oh, wait.
You want to be a farmer? Here's a couple of acres.
Oh, okay. Damn, what is that from? What movie is that?
You want to be a farmer?
True Lies?
Here's a couple of
True Lies?
acres.
No, that's not. Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm going to look like such an idiot now. I can't remember the movie.
I believe it is True Lies.
Is
And
it?
I hear some.
Yeah, Milker's got some
I
audio.
hear some.
I think he maybe has been abducted. We haven't heard from him in a while. Is he trapped in something?
I hear ocean sounds.
I told you. I think he's trapped in a freight box in the ocean, and it's filling. It might be filling up with water. Milker, can you hear us?
Wait, Milker, are you trapped inside Mersh's cat's litter box?
No, that's.
Also,
No,
the
I
film
doubt
was
it.
Last Action Hero.
Oh, that was my second
Oh.
guess. Damn it, dude.
Should have gone with it.
That's all right. I am long since recorded. I'm retarded. I'm very retarded. So it's not a secret that I'm dumb. So
Well, at least you're all with it.
he's gone.
Hero,
He's got to figure his mic out.
Last Action Hero. That was an old movie reference though.
No, dude, Last Action Hero. That's the one with the kid in the movie ticket that goes in the movie, right? Or is that a different one? Dude, I love that fucking movie. I love that movie. Anyway, I'm gonna retweet that because that is funny. No.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
You're gonna what?
Retweet. I'm gonna retweet that as well.
So
I
Akiba.
should have.
Go ahead, dude. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, bitch.
No. All I was gonna say is I should have known that was Last Action Hero because I saw that movie like 3 weeks ago.
Well, right, and I mean it was the jacket. The jacket and the shirt is what. I don't know why I thought True Lies, but yeah, sabotaging myself consistently. But Akiba, do you have like your own YouTube channel? Do you do your own thing?
I don't. There are things cooking in the books, in the stove.
You put your books in the stove?
Depending on the books. Well, give them the old German treatment.
Hell yeah.
But as of yet, not quite. I do kind of plan to branch out into that. Mostly, I have different sorts of things planned for what I want to do. The most kind of being your traditional sort of video essay videos, though the topics I want to pick are probably a little bit, I wouldn't say completely obscure, but they're a little bit offbeat, and a lot of it is to inform with the stuff that I do want to make and I want to plan to make. My big thing is teaching because I love to learn things, whether mundane or trivial or not. So what better to do with all of my weird knowledge about video games development, and canceled games than to make something akin to the lowest budget cost PBS type production possible.
Sure. Do you have like experience with video editing and animation or any of that sort of thing?
I wouldn't say any sort of actual like extensive history. I used to make, back in the mid 2000s on YouTube, like everyone, I used to make AMVs, video game and anime music videos and things like that. So I and just little gag meme videos here and there, nothing major. But in terms of doing videos of this nature and things like reviews and things like that, I do a lot of research into what I want to make, because I do want there to be at least some level of quality, which I think is what kind of caused me to hold off so long to do things, because I want it to be something that I would enjoy. And of course, I'm going to put in dumb jokes that I'll enjoy. I'll go, but I want there to be a certain kind of level of like, if I weren't me, is this at least watchable? Even though forgetting that people will watch absolute just garbage things and not care at all. But for me, in the stuff that I want to emulate, the creators I want to emulate, the kind of vibe with certain things I want to do, I do want there to be effort put in and have it be clean and have it be on a certain level. Just because if somebody's going to watch something I make, I want that to at least have had good work behind it, so that they're not wasting their time.
Well, the reason I ask is because I have had a similar notion for several things. Honestly, the one thing that I really would like to do is make music, but I also like I said, I made Owen Benjamin videos, but those were just screen recorded, and like I didn't put clips together. I would just shorten things and whatever. I never edited my audio. It's one take. Sometimes I would do 2 or 3, but I never put much thought or effort into it. But when it came to, I don't even have a good computer, so this isn't really a good comparison, but it really comes down to your ability to edit and put things together.
Timing, presentation, yeah.
Oh, hold up. I love how Genius Anus is, he's not in chat, but he's watching the show and doing commentary about the show from Twitter.
Oh, is he?
So
Nice.
Let me, I've got to show my screen. So shout out to Mr.
No porno. Yeah, shout out to Genius Anus. That was a fun show last week, right?
Oh yeah.
Well,
I think every show we do is fun and great, but I may have a bias for that.
Yeah, well, people. Yeah, well, yeah, all my porn tabs are closed.
Very good.
Vicious Vickers, you need to step up your game. Sam WNGC is running a very entertaining show where boomer tech issues are part of the show. The headline for my hit piece will be "Old Man Beaten by a Cripple with a Harem of Busty Nurses." I'm also going to retweet that. Again, that was Genius Anus on Twitter there.
He had said one earlier about me, quote, "I grew up on military bases in Japan in the 90s, ... end quote. That explains so much, lol." Yeah, doesn't it? Isn't it all coming together now?
So Akiba, I have to ask you. Oh shit! Some of you might have just seen Trish Stratus's tits. So yeah, never mind.
For God's sake, Sammy! I just said don't have porn open. I literally just said don't have porn open. We were talking about it being an addiction. No, because I make fun of you for liking wrestling on top of it. So it's a fucking wrestling bitch with her tits out. Did you actually just do that? I'm not sure if this is a bit.
No,
Oh
no,
no,
not on,
Milker
not on
Milker can't get the
purpose.
app. Milker can't get the app to work on mobile. That's the problem.
Oof.
Oh, oh,
Distracting from your showing tits, you little. I didn't see anything, and I'm looking at the feed here and whatever.
well, good then. I've I've still got lightning fast reflexes then. But anyway, continue
You're gonna ask me
continuing
something?
on. Yeah. How old are you,
Too old.
Agma?
That's a good place to start. Too old. Um, I like to say I am eternally 21. But I was around to remember the Hunchback of Notre Dame Burger King commercials on television. And I'll just kind of
Okay.
put that as a general feeler for where I'm at in life.
Yeah. So I think you and I are closer to the same
You are
to
younger
the
than me,
same
I will say
age.
that.
Well, I'm 20. I'm 27. But
Younger than me by a bit.
okay. My neighbor kid thinks I'm old as fuck because I remember the PlayStation 1. And that hurt me. That hurt me. That hurt me a bit.
When they
That
started
and the fact
tagging, go on.
that and the fact that I remember watching the keynote for the first iPhone. Apparently that makes me old too.
Yeah, when I saw people tagging late 90s, early aughties stuff as retro or vintage, I about had a conniption fit because I'm like, no, that's not old. Like the Atari's old. And then it dawned on me
Yeah,
where
dude.
in my brain, the Atari 2600 was retro, but I was having those thoughts at the turn of the millennium when the Atari
Right.
2600 was
Right.
only about 20 years old. And then I
Yeah.
remember how long the PS1's been out, and I just want to die.
Yeah. You think you think classic rock, and you think fucking Floyd and Zeppelin and shit.
Yeah.
But in reality, now it's shit like fucking Weezer, and fucking
Yeah,
Jimmy something. I can't even remember now.
John. Yeah, John Mayer is now considered classic rock by some.
Right.
Oh man.
Right. That's insane.
It's
So anyway, Sammy,
it's no, yeah.
I don't mean to. I'm not bored. I'm having fun, but the show's been going for 2.5 hours, and I have to switch some laundry. So, you guys want to keep going for a minute? I do work open to close, but I got time. But
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to take a minute. I'm gonna take a minute.
yeah. I don't mind if you do that. It's too bad laundry can't help you with your laundry.
She's a
So
wet sandwich, dude. She knows she can't do fucking. She ain't doing nobody's laundry.
well, apparently her latest arc is she's a cannibal.
I
And
heard.
she
I
ate
don't look. Yeah, go ahead.
she ate Mr. Whiskey, and yeah.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Good Lord Almighty.
So yeah, well, I mean, honestly, if you were to do like stuff of your own, that would
Mhm.
be that would be great. I also love uh Akba, the fact that that would just enrage all the people who think that you're just Vickers's employer,
Yeah, I mean,
whatever.
honestly, I don't think they pay too much mind to me at all. I mean, like you said, the lore is that I'm secretly Faith's boyfriend. That would be fucking news to me. I wonder where they're talking about that shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been wanting to get into the online realm of making shit in a a serious attempt capacity for, I don't know, fucking 4 or 5 years. But usually it's just like, okay, that's my whimsical thought for the day. Time to go back to what I'm fucking doing.
I've
And
I've
with good.
yeah. I'm kind of the same way, because one of the things that I've wanted to do is I want to, because I'm very much into movies and like and whatnot, especially from the 80s.
Mhm.
And but the problem with it is, and this is just kind of me bitching about YouTube in general, is like the type of videos that I want to do for like movie reviews and stuff, and same thing with albums. Uh, the way I want to do them like would be really cool, but they would instantly get demonetized and probably
Yeah.
taken down on YouTube, because like what I want to do is essentially do like for an album review. I actually tweeted this. Like I have an idea for a podcast slash YouTube thing where like I look at an album and then I play like a said song from an album and then review kind of that song and do it kind of like track by track and do an album that way. The problem
Right.
is I know that the minute I play any sort of song or like an album, YouTube's gonna take that shit down, because ASPAC or whatever the music rights thing is gonna like flag it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where YouTube becomes a bitch. And I don't know why I mean, I know originally video games were kind of the same way, but it seems like they're a lot more lax on video game commentary.
It depends. It's twofold. It depends on the company. There was a time where Nintendo was real bad about taking stuff down, and I believe Sega, about their Shining Force series, was really bad about taking videos, even like, and just like let's plays, just harmless things. In general, it's a lot easier to do that because of the digital rights around video games. People can even, at least from what I know, generally use video game music a lot easier than anything put under any of the big record labels. That's why so many streamers use tracks from video games, or sometimes redone tracks from video games by musicians, because as long as it's not owned by Universal Media Group or anything like that, or in any of these databases, uh, it's a lot more easier to get away with using it, even if there might be copyright protections behind that music.
I'm
And that's
still
and that's something.
sour. Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's a difficult thing too with certain games like Grand Theft Auto or Cyberpunk, where they use licensed tracks, and it makes it hell for streamers. So the whole game track
Yeah.
audio of background music is fine, but as soon as one of those tracks by Run the Jewels plays, oh, we got some problems.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of two games, quick tangent real quick. Is Elden Ring worth playing, or is it
Fuck
just
yes, fuck yes, no, fuck yes, fuck yes, fuck yes, fuck yes. It's going to be, for me, the game of the decade. I can't see anything else topping it this fucking year.
okay? Because I'm seeing that like it's on, the PlayStation Store for $69, and I'm like,
Oof.
I know it's
You
good,
could,
but
you
is
know
it?
what? You could probably maybe wait till it goes on sale.
I would say, if you're not in a major hurry, wait for a sale. Couldn't fucking hurt. For me, out of my $60, with 42 out of 42 achievements, I got 177 hours of gameplay off of it. And that's doing everything. That's full completionist. Um, it's fucking fantastic. But
Ouch.
by all means, you feel free to hold off for a sale.
Yeah,
Okay.
I never
Yeah.
played any
Okay.
of that. I never played any of the Souls game. Well, no, that's not true. I played a little bit of Bloodborne, but I got relatively frustrated pretty early on. And I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe it's just I didn't. It was. I enjoyed it what I did play, but I just didn't understand it. Maybe I guess. And I'm from what I understand now, based on all the videos and shit I've seen, that's part of the struggle. But that's not really why I play video games. That's my life is kind of like that, you know, as most people's are. The last video game, aside from the early God of War 1 and 2 and maybe 3, I mean, I've not been that much of a hardcore gamer. The games that I played the fucking shit out of, but I didn't really play everything, you know? So I don't think I've ever played a Final Fantasy game. I played Resident Evil 1 Director's Cut, and then Resident Evil 5, and...
Ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's a jump. That's a fucking jump.
Yeah, exactly. I never played any of the Silent Hill games. I was talking to one of my Twitter buddies the other day, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Never played any of them. Yeah, it's kind of brutal. But what was it? Oh yeah, Ghost of Tsushima was the last game that I was really happy that I decided to play, because and Doom Eternal was fun.
Yep.
You know, very good.
My dad, who got me my PS5 as a graduation present, actually, he has a PS5 too, and he started off by telling me, "Oh, by the way, I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima," and I'm like, "Wait, Dad, how do you even know what Ghost of Tsushima is?"
Dude, it's so good.
Like, yeah.
It's very. It's
so
both. It's both. Go ahead. Sorry.
So what's funny is like my dad, who's 60, like he's new to gaming, but yet he's already gotten like into gaming. It's really funny. So.
Well, that going back a decade, and a decade literally, when Battlefield 3 came out, that's the most gaming I've ever done in my life. And at the time, if you can wrap your head around it, I had a radio signal internet source. So
Holy shit.
It was line of sight, and it was obviously very limited in bandwidth. So when other people on the network were awake and using the internet, I couldn't play. I literally couldn't. So my most opportune gaming time was like between midnight and noon. So
Jesus.
at the time, my job, it worked out that way, because it was just a part-time job anyway. But I would literally go to sleep at like 7 o'clock at night, wake up at 12:30 midnight, and play with all my friends, you know, across the pond, as it were. But I ended up that's another one. I sucked ass at that game, the multiplayer, because I never really played. I mean, I played some first-person shooters, but all campaigns. I didn't have the internet really growing up.
Yeah.
And the fucking boondocks. So I understood the mechanics and shit, but not online play. But anyway, yeah, I got my ass kicked for a hot minute, but I ended up putting like 1,200 hours, I think, into Battlefield 3 at the end of the multiplayer. But at the end of the day,
yeah, I actually recently got the recently remastered version of Battlefield 3, and it's still fun to play.
I really wish I had a gaming PC so that I could jump on. I wish I could play it still right now. I haven't played it in 8 years at least.
Also, shout out to Alan Powell, the real AP, who's in chat.
Whoop, whoop.
Alan, see, Milka wants Alan to join the stream, which, I mean, I'm down for that, but I don't. Alan, where have you been? I don't see you on.
He just got a P90 or a fuck. I forget what it's called, but it's basically a P90. So
An FN Versal P90?
yeah.
yeah,
Oh, interesting.
RCP90.
Al-
That's what it is.
Alan
Ah.
Powell, Alan
I
Powell
think.
is our resident gun guy,
Okay.
which I think he's the one. I mean, I know that Vicious had already had the guest set up, but if Vicious Vickers wanted to talk guns, Alan Powell is the one to have that discussion with.
I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't be against a guns part 2 at some point. I think there's still plenty
Probably
where you
not.
can talk about guns,
Yeah.
especially now with the politics behind them all.
Oh yeah. Well, what I was gonna say earlier, Akiba, is it's interesting that the whole kind of thing with doing gaming commentary has changed, because back in 2011 or so, I tried to do. Unfortunately, I don't have it anymore, but I did like a brief review of LA Noir when that game came out, and my video got taken down actually
Ooh.
because of copyrights at the time. So
Yeah, it was really bad
so
back
yeah.
then too.
Yeah, that's something. If you're gonna do gaming, Sammy, you got to be careful to do commentary. Whether you record video game footage and then do commentary afterwards, or talk over it while you're playing. You know.
Well, sure. This was also like back in 2011 though too. So
Yeah.
so things have changed. But
Man, I was when Fortnite first came out. I don't know how I'm sure you both remember, but at the time,
yeah,
what the fuck? Is it Battlegrounds? Is that the original?
PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds.
Yeah, that's it. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. I was watching a lot of videos on YouTube about it, and I saw that shit launch. I played Fortnite, I think, if not day 1, then day 2, and I actually really enjoyed it. And I played the shit out of it for months. And I had recorded a game where my building wouldn't work, like I couldn't build anything, and I couldn't jump. So I had to run. I literally just had to run across the map and hide and shit. But I ended up winning. You know what I'm saying? Like a solo match.
Mm-hmm.
I had that was also a really fun time. That the early days of Fortnite, when they were figuring shit out and experimenting, and I mean, they had the mechanics. The mechanics have always been solid. They had the shit figured out half a decade earlier. You know, the game became multiple different iterations. But I thought they deserved like a nice good job the way they adapted to the market. And you know, because again, Battlegrounds had come out, they had all of these mechanics for this shit. They're like, well, hold on a second, let's just fucking slap a fucking world together and let these people fly in and kill each other until, you know what I mean? And
simplified a little bit.
They became huge. I mean, look how fucking huge Epic has become as a result simply of Fortnite. So
yeah,
good on them.
Epic Games also they did a game that was like exclusively for iOS that I wish they had done for like either PCs or for consoles. But there was this really cool game back in the day called Infinity Blade. That was like kind of like Dark Souls, I guess, but it was kind of like Dark Souls mixed with like Street Fighter or something.
I don't know how that makes sense, but go ahead.
It's just Souls like when you have inputs. That's how it works.
Well, it was basically like you would swap. It was basically like a sword fighting game with like really good graphics. But yeah. I can't even remember why I brought that up, but
Yeah, because you're
I
almost
wanted to
you're almost 3 hours in.
I wanted to say
Well,
that Fortnite walked so that the Epic Game Store could light itself on fire.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
I mean, look, not to take away from their epic failure since their grandiose, just launch into fucking space. But yeah, I mean, it was a nice maneuvering at the beginning, which is what I saw, and it got so fucking. It went so overboard so quick that it wasn't fun anymore. I didn't enjoy playing it anymore. I quit playing it. It seems now, several years later, they're doing like the no building, which they should have done a long time ago. They should have had,
well,
But anyway.
now there's this game called Roblox that I guess is out.
It's Minecraft
out there.
It's actually Second Life. It's actually insanely more than Minecraft ever is because it's completely user generated. It's more of a metaverse than Facebook's metaverse, in where people program their own games, create their own art assets and things like that, 3D models, way more than Minecraft tends to let its users do.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
it's
real popular with the kids. So that's kind of
I know it's another one. I know it's another one that's real popular with the kids and the autism folks.
Yeah.
Well, I have two younger siblings who are obsessed with Roblox. In fact, like I don't want to say they don't want to talk to me, but like their preferred method of talking to me is like they invite me into their own private server and talk to me over mic that way. So
that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah,
but I mean, it makes sense.
So like I'll ask them, how's school and all that stuff. Well, they're like building like houses and stuff like that.
Yeah, but see, look, that goes back to like when I was a kid, and if your parents wanted to talk to you, or if anybody wanted to talk to you, you didn't continue drawing your picture or building with your letter blocks. You stopped what you were doing and you listened and you had a conversation.
I put the game controller down and I waited for them to finish talking so I could go back to playing Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, granted, they live in different states because I mean, I live in Florida and they still live in Colorado. But even so, like, they could at least like FaceTime me or something. But
it's part of our cyberpunkish future that we're going into. It's Sam, a little bit of a mix of everything all the time.
You could always go into their servers and bully be the chaos to their order and be like, listen here, you little shit, and start just pap, pap, pap. I mean, I'm assuming you can punch things like in Minecraft, just fucking, or chuck some dynamite in their barn or whatever, kill some of their farm animals or something. Like, you're gonna fucking listen to me, or I'm gonna do worse. Hijack their server. Look, it's all digital. Surely you can get somebody to do that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and make my little sister cry. Yeah,
they don't have to know it. Look, you can keep it anonymous until you get the results you want. Then you just bully the shit out of them until they don't want to play the game anymore. Then they have to talk to you. But
cool. Oh, see? Clever. Yeah, clever sibling advice from Apex Gamma.
Yeah, the one who most of which are
bully them.
Either killed themselves or got ran over or something.
Remember, chat, early and often. Early and often.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I've already told them that they're not allowed to date YouTubers because, and let me just provide the context of. So I guess there are actual like kid YouTubers that like
Oh, yeah.
unbox
Tons
toys.
of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so one of my sisters who's 10 has a crush on one of these YouTube kids who's also like 10 or 11. And I immediately got like flashes of the whole Ralph saga, and that's what I'm gonna have to deal with in the future. So I told her I'm like absolutely no dating YouTubers. What? Why not? Because I'm your older brother, and I said so. That's why.
Well, that's not really bullying so much as you're ensuring that she's going to do exactly what you suggest not to. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's how child psychology works, bro. Don't you know that? I mean, just like most people's psychology, you can't do this. I because I say so, and I'm your elder, and I'm your father, or I'm your mother, and I know better. That's a good way to make sure they
well,
do or try.
well, well, I mean, I don't want to scar I don't want to scar my sister for life quite yet by introducing her to the rage pig.
No, Sammy. For the love of God, don't introduce anybody in your life to the shit that you laugh at on the internet. For God's sake, they're different things.
No,
they
I'm
exist
not
separately. They have to.
No, I'm not gonna do that. But my thought was, this kid could the YouTuber could turn into Ethan Ralph. That was kind of my thought.
Well, look, man, if you're gonna think like that, he could turn into Logan fucking Paul too. If you're gonna look at extremes, how many kids are on the internet now? They're all fucking doing it. You can't be so blanket in your.
No, that's the key. You have to be blanket. You're not allowed to date any e-celebs, TikTok, YouTube, or Twitch. All of them. No.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
and then watch them find the worst of either of those groups to go and be with.
Fortunately they think that TikTok is stupid, which, yes.
Good. That's good. It's a good sign.
Look, let me give you a look. Bullying early and often is a good idea. My big brother,
often.
One of my favorite stories about my big brother, my only older sibling, he used to like quote unquote play karate with me for one. Like him and his friends, and just mostly on the trampoline, we'd like fuck around, and he'd like, it was Ninja Turtles era, so lots of spin kicks and shit, and he would hurt me oftentimes because I was littler than him, and he'd be like, turn the pain into anger. I still have that shit ringing in my ears. But my overall favorite story is we built up a big pile of pillows and blankets at the end of a hallway, and he wanted me to hold one of those reading those pillows with arms, those big, like sit up reading pillows in your bed. You know what I'm talking about? He made me hold one of those backwards so that the arms were underneath my armpits, and I like gripped it real tight. And he took like a 4-step stride down the hallway, like sidestepping, and side karate kicked me, and I fucking flew a good 8 feet, into the blanket. Shit knocked the breath out of me hard. I mean, of course he bullied me into it. He's like, it's just a look at all this cushion. You're not gonna it's fine. And he did that sort of thing a lot, and he killed himself recently. So I win, motherfucker. I'm still here.
Shit.
I'm still here, bitch.
Oh my God! I didn't see that one coming.
I didn't want to play it up too long, but no, that's true. That's all true.
I was gonna say that's the same sibling that you were like, you making fun of me for being a cripple and whatnot, and I'm like, oh yeah, well I still
at least I have living siblings left. Yeah, right after. Yeah, right after my big brother killed himself, Sammy's like, at least I still have fucking siblings, motherfucker.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
savage.
It is.
No,
That's the funniest thing Sammy's ever said. It was very
no.
well. It was very well timed. It was fun.
And immediately after that, I went and got myself a crippled. I crippled crawl my.
Oh yeah, Akiba. Sam recently, ever since I became so fascinated by it, he will just leave his camera on, plop out of his chair, crawl over to the door behind him there, crawl out of sight, and then crawl back into frame several minutes later with a beer in his hand, and then hoist himself back up into his chair.
And while I'm gone,
I talk all
Mr.
kinds of shit.
you and Mr. Whiskey both, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is probably why Miss Sandwich ate him, because she was tired.
Can't shit talk to Sammy.
Yeah,
She
she was
turned
tired
into a
of,
sandwich.
I guess.
Go ahead, sorry, man.
You thought Vickers was entertaining, huh? Come on,
Yeah, you should come here more often.
you
God.
you should come here. But
Vickers, I just want to say, if the worst thing that we ever do is say you're taking the Vickers too much today, I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Jesus
Sammy,
Christ,
Sammy and
no,
I,
it's savage.
Sammy and I are going to become the standard for cringe and well, yeah, maybe savage. I guess I don't know. I just think it's funny.
Well,
no, it's absolutely funny. It's just like fuck.
well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
one of my nicknames in the Danger Zone was Savage Sam. So, which, good God, how do I still remember? How do I still remember DZ is forever. That's why. But, now what is Gina saying is
He's fucking swinging for the fucking fields with this one. Goddamn.
Look, the thing is the years that I've been doing this show with Sammy, there is some real there's some real shit in there, some real funny opportunities in there, but I just don't have I don't care enough, and I hate listening to my own voice. If I cared enough, I could have a clip channel. Sammy would probably be a lot bigger. My whole goal in doing this was to talk to Sammy, which I could do off air, but to try and be an entertaining co-host for him, because watching this crippled bastard squirm solo on air and just read the chat all the time and read news articles it made me feel bad. He deserves better than that. He's a smart kid. He's a smart boy.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
You know what is interesting though is prior to Apex being my co-host, I had another co-host who has
also named Jeff. Yeah,
who's also named Jeff, who last year had blocked Apex over the
over the pinwheel swastika, the swastika. Look, man, I'm just extra proud.
Swastika
North,
pride.
South, East, and West. Yeah, swastika pride.
And so I actually tweeted at Jeff. I'm like, look, man, the gay swastika is back. And so are you ready for the Battle of the Jeffs? And
bring him on, dude. Why doesn't he come on?
Y'all can do some blood sports.
Yeah, could be fun.
Well, the thing it is I think he works on most Saturday nights, but we are gonna host an event.
We could do it any day of the goddamn week.
A Bloodapalooza.
And
yeah, man. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, Gay Jeff versus Gamma Jeff, I guess. So,
Whoa! He's the gay Jeff. I'm the
Yeah.
one with the pride swastika. Come on.
Oh my god.
Well, yeah, hey, well, hold on though, Apex. You're not gay. You're just a ship hoster.
Well,
Or wait,
look,
They're the same
Are-
thing
are-
depending on who you ask.
exactly. The whole point of shit posting is they don't know. You're the privileged few. Sammy, you are of the privileged few. Everyone else, I could end up like Ethan Ralph, where everyone's like speculating wildly about, based on past behaviors, and maybe accurately, maybe just fucking
Well-
wildly presumed because, patterns say things. Who the fuck knows?
well, listen, we know that you're not gay because you talk how much you like Mexican
Yeah, well,
and
don't say it. Don't you say it.
burritos and tacos.
Right. Okay. That's true. Those are all true facts.
What do you think I was gonna say?
Nothing. I'd say nothing.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I totally banged my Mexican girlfriend one time on the show, but I was like muted, and I mean, like, I didn't know. I don't think until after the fact.
Jesus, what?
Yeah,
Jesus.
that was a long time ago. Look, I was
Oh
I was
my
very
God.
young. I was young. I
Yeah.
didn't know what I was doing. But look, I don't take Sammy's show seriously because he's crippled. I'm just here to try and make him money.
And that's why you're not doing clips of the show. Okay.
Yeah,
Dude,
I mean, no, I could. Trust me, I'm pretty sure it's all still out there. There's a lot of terrible things I've said and done on this show. They've just all flown under the radar because
No
we
one's
don't
clipping
make, we
it.
don't make
'Cause
yeah
you're
we
not
don't make
clipping
enough we don't make enough noise. Yeah, exactly.
which I'm kind of glad of for right now. But,
Oh boy, I think it's coming, Sammy. I think it might be coming.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
As long as you make money, that's been the whole point.
Just
all
remember,
I-
when you have the money, don't blow it on trips to Europe or Maker's Mark. Invest,
Well,
preferably
look,
in silver by Rockland Coin Shop.
Or
And then the true Sammy Vickers arc will begin.
so
or
go ahead.
or NFTs as the
Oh God!
as the
Well, look,
If
something
If
that
you're gonna
doesn't.
invest, hold on. If you're gonna invest in NFTs, just give me the money right now. I promise I'll burn just a bit of it for you to satisfy you on that end.
Right.
Yeah, right. Well, I constantly get like NFT people like trying to hit me up, and I'm like, I think they think I'm trolling them, but I legitimately am confused by NFTs. As
I
is
mean,
everyone.
That's what's to
Well-
be confused about is a pyramid scam.
Well, speaking of pyramids, the technology that built them
Exactly.
went into Sammy's wheelchair. Most people don't know that, and we don't talk about that often on the show. This shit goes back, I mean, we're talking hundreds of centuries. I don't dare to guess exactly, but I know there's modern advances like hydraulics. There's some hydraulics in there, but I think it's mostly magic. There are many unsolved missing women cases in the southeastern United States that I would bet you money are attributed to this young man on screen right now with that shit-eating grin. Yep, doing his little crippled Jew fingers.
I've heard a little bit about this lore and the chair involved with it.
No, dude, no, you don't know the half of it, friend.
Oh no, I don't. I think I barely know a tenth.
Well, I don't dare go into all of it now. It's very deep lore, the basic nature is wheel blades, caltrops, flamethrowers, early form of like Gatling guns. He still has to use his crippled arms to
So you're
to shoot
saying
those
his
guns.
wheelchair is a Bond car?
Basically, but that's where it's where Bond came from. Like the whole idea came from. Sammy's not the first. He's not some eldritch being. He's still a 25, 6-year-old, 7-year-old man. Shut up. Let me finish. But this chair has been passed down for centuries. For again, hundreds of them at this point. He hasn't even unlocked its full potential because he's afraid. He crawls everywhere instead of, linking with the chair, Cerebro style. There's a way to do it. I know it. I may not be that smart, but I've done my research here. And that chair is either the key to our salvation, or it's going to rape a bunch of girls, and then they're going to.
Oh, God.
Look, it's not. I didn't say you. It's the chair, Sammy. It has its own sentience. It's like that game I never played, Assassin's Creed. It's like a thing passed down that nobody understands it. It's like a dream thing.
And here I was thinking you were going to go with some dot hack levels of it's either the key to all salvation or the ticket to ensure destruction. But you're like, no, it's racing girls.
No. Look, clearly you've not been paying attention, friend.
Apparently. Like, I'm giving you credit. You can at least just be appreciative.
I appreciate it. I do. I'm just kidding.
In this economy.
Sammy wouldn't rape a girl that asked her to, but the chair is its own thing.
Chair.
That's the whole thing. It has a Doc Ock style arms too that I forgot to mention earlier. And it's not exclusive to women either. I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
We can move on from that.
Yeah. Sometimes, and look, sometimes the chair, sometimes the chair absconds with me. Sometimes, like, I'll just be sleeping in my room, and then I'll wake up like in the middle of like a city street with like slain Russian
with the chair up your ass. See, I forgot to mention that part. I think the chair is raping Sammy too. I don't think he's a willing participant.
Oh God.
Yeah. Anyway,
I love it. I love it. I love how every stream the lore just like expands.
I know, and nobody knows how to deal with it either. Nobody knows how to deal with it. Nobody knows.
I mean, if you're creating a rape chair cinematic universe, all you can really do is just keep adding to the pile.
Because there's just nothing but victims in that case.
Oh God!
Oh, good Lord! Look, I'm declaring for legal purposes that the sentience of Sammy's ancient chair is separate from his own. His crippled body, I've seen it. It will leave that chair, and it can. He just may not always be able to do so.
Yeah, So this actually makes me think of Apex. Have either of you seen Norm Macdonald's new special that he did from his living room?
Nothing special. No, I have not yet.
I have not.
I haven't. I'm gonna have to go back and start from the beginning. I started to watch it from the beginning, but from just a few minutes I watched.
Is it sad?
It's well, depends on how you look at it. Like if you look at it as this is his last thing, then yeah, it is sad. But it's also brilliant in the sense that he kind of does what you just did, which is he takes like a premise and then just builds off
Yeah.
off
Well,
of it.
dude, Norm is by almost everyone on the planets that knows anything about comedy's account, one of the greatest of all time. And the fact that he recorded a special that released posthumously is just the fact that he did that without anyone even knowing that fucking piece of shit was sick, you know? Like that those are all the watermark for him, his greatness has only gone up for almost his entire time on the stage, quote unquote stage, as it were.
I will say the one thing that's sad is, at least from what it looks like to me, like in the special, like you can kind of tell in this that he is sick. Just because he doesn't look the same necessarily.
Well, and that's again in retrospect, even on the Norm show, the podcast that he did, or the Norm, whatever the fuck it was called, he got
Norm
real
Macdonald
fat.
Live.
Yeah, Norm Macdonald Live. Yeah, he got real fat, and then he got skinnier again. Like his shit fluctuated, but he was always Norm. So it was like people would mock his weight, guests and co-hosts and whatever. But, at the time, it was just, people fluctuate in weight, especially fucking rich and famous people.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the retrospect is what really kicks me in the gut, man.
Yeah. I have to say, like, I'm still kind of sad that he passed. And it's been like, what?
It's pushing a year.
Yeah, pushing a year. But no, anyway, I just thought that like that whole premise that you did of just like building on the rape chair,
you're comparing me to Norm, which is I honestly have goosebumps right now.
So he I don't want to ruin it, but he starts off with, I'm a degenerate gambler and I like gambling at casinos, and then and then from what it looks like, a lot of the bit is just building on his casino thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Norm, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm. So
legit one of the greatest of all time.
Easily. But
so should we wrap this up, or should I continue the lore on your rape chair? Because I legit have to work 12 and a half hours tomorrow, starting in 7 hours from now. So.
Fuck.
Ooh, yeah, no, I mean, we're at 3 hours and 12 minutes now.
3:13 by my count here, but
yeah, close to that. So yeah, we can wrap it up. But Akiba, any final thoughts?
You got any plugs?
Any plugs?
You can find me on the bird site twitter.com at Akiba, Akiba. Insomnia, no spaces, no underscores, just Akiba Insomnia. Nothing much else to plug, at least for now. And if I do, you can find it through that.
You're the co-host of. Are you not the co-host of the Good, the Bad, and the Vicious?
I am the co-host of the Good, the Bad, and the Vicious, run by one Mr. Vicious Vickers at Vicious Vickers. That is my boss, my apparently payroll supervisor, the man who will get me a fucking pizza if we hit 1,000 subs, the man who will one day save me from the cave I live in.
Hell yeah.
And we do a show every Thursday at 6 Pacific, 8 Central, 9 Eastern. on various topics where we chat about whatever with whoever and have a good time.
He keeps hijacking your game news segment that you do.
He does me a great disservice by letting me talk for that long uninterrupted. And I can feel it start to cause a vein in his head to pop of like, if this weeb won't shut the fuck up, I swear to God about these video games. But yeah, no. So you can find me on there for now. More things to come possibly in the future.
I find the two of you entertaining. Regarding Mr. Vickers, for those of you who are wondering, I don't know when yet, but we will have Vicious Vickers on again here at some point, since so many of you left such good reviews, you know, and some who didn't. But you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get to that. So
I thought that was a good episode. So the part 2 will be just as good.
It'll be better.
Yeah, no, I think a part 2 will be better.
Just needs more rape chair lore.
Yeah. Also, I will be on a podcast called Toxic Tuesdays this coming Tuesday, reviewing Rocky 4. So I will post.
Oh boy, a 30-year-old movie. Damn, cutting edge shit there, man. Sorry.
You know what? I love 80s movies though. So I was invited. I was invited on. So
yeah, man. Look, I'm all for it. I've never turned down an invitation to a show.
Fortunately, I won't have any Marines screaming at me about Star Trek. So.
I still regret that. I still regret that, man. Anyway, you guys can find me on all socials at K1LL_YRS3LF, and you should probably do that.
Probably, yeah.
What? No.
Jeez.
So I had to get more. I had to get more creative, Sam. Sorry, I said it too many times back in the day, real drunk. So, listen, you should all kiss your mothers, or something, or your spouse, whatever. Just the ones you loved, you love. Good night, everybody.
Follow Apex Gamma on Twitter at Apex_Gamma, since he's too chicken shit to plug for himself.
Shut your no. Hold on. I am just trying to be funny, bitch. I don't want people to follow me. I've said that for years. What the fuck? What's there to follow?
That's how I feel about being on Twitter. Shit.
Yeah.
Right.
You being self-destructive and
that's funny. Yeah, maybe you're subscribing to the Reddit then. I am gonna become a lol cow.
I don't check the Reddit anymore. So.
Yeah, why would you? My favorite thing about Redditors is they think that they're journalists.
You know who else thinks they're journalists? Game journalists.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's true.
Anyway, bloggers.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Akiba, sincerely, thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
I normally am like Sammy, kill this fucking show. God damn it, kill it. I want to go to sleep at like 90 minutes usually. So we've done twice that. I've had fun. And Sammy, good show. Thank you for having me on as always. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you, Akiba, for coming on. Hopefully I've helped to restore your lore a little bit. So, once again, for those of you who are, well, that.
Sorry.
Also,
sorry.
Well, but also, I think we can confirm that Akiba is definitely not Faith Vickers' boyfriend. I don't.
And nothing on them. Like, I'm sure they're nice people, but I don't date women with kids. That's just, I'm good. So yeah, we can definitely get that one out.
Yeah.
Solid note to end on. Good
I
night,
also,
chat.
I also don't hate girls that fucking young.
There we go. That's the, I think that's the ultimate takeaway. So
yeah.
But with all that, good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next week.
See ya.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Whitfield Report on the NGC Network. Please visit Sam's website at www.thesamwhitfield.com and support Sam on Patreon at patreon.com/Whitfield Report. Until next time, God bless, God save this great nation, and God, freedom, legacy, in that order.